face up. Put my face up. She wants a ball shake, cause she shake. Why you doing all that? Thought you was my wife, but you slapped me in the back. Slapped me in the back. Put my face up. Why you doing all that? Thought you was my wife, but you slapped me in the back. I ain't going outside in this cold ass winter, gotta roll up and out. See you from afar, got my thoughts in the sky. Where we used to kiss, sunshine, shit, and why? You gotta call me every day, pretend you my baby. I see more real out there lately, it's crazy. Yeah, we could be the same as we claim in this kingdom shit and keep it tame. Come on, baby girl, we're not the same. Two different speeds, but we keep it one lane. Yeah, what goes around comes around. Keep 100, y'all. Do this for my soul like a dawn. Put the stereo on.
Put your hands in the air, we'll be alright. Hey, oh, yeah. You keep messing up my mind, but I love your style. You know I
put the place up. Put my face up. Why you doing all that? Thought you was my wife, but you slapped me in the back. Slapped me in the back.
Poison in
Hey, check it. Hey, check it. Put the place up. Put the place up, yeah we know what we made of. Can't get enough of you, boo, I'm a chaser. Face up, now I feel a little major. Blink of an eye, ego I'm a taker. Shaker, yeah she was a ball shaker. She shake me out that door to no place. Damn, why you doing all that? Thought you was my wife, but you stabbed me in the back. Sounding like a rose when we came out there. We settled facts like the Vinci. I'm breaking codes and breaking backs. Come on, get your ass up if you're slipping. Put another smile if it was the last Christmas. Hey. Put the place up. Put the place up, yeah we know what we made of. Can't get enough of you, boo, I'm a chaser. Face up, now I feel a little major. Blink of an eye, ego I'm a taker. Shaker, yeah she was a ball shaker. She shake me out that door to no place. Damn, why you doing all that? Thought you was my wife, but you stabbed me in the back. Sounding like a rose when we came out there. We settled facts like the Vinci. I'm breaking codes and breaking backs. Come on, get your ass up if you're slipping. Put another smile if it was the last Christmas. Hey.
are good. I walk back to my history, into my old neighborhood. Longing for you, longing for you. Oh, but I can't get back. What can I do? What can I do when your train is gone? I don't wanna go back, back. Don't wanna go back. If you are not with me, hey, do you read me? Go back, back to where we came from. If my hands are empty, hey, do you read me? Go back. I don't wanna go
Good morning, and it's that time of day again where we bring you some SMITE Global Series action. Today is all about Latin America South. Myself, Hindu Man, and Toli will be bringing you this cast today. Toli, it's going to be an interesting one. We're going to be having Nocturnes up against Legatum, two teams that have been around a while.
Definitely been around for a while. One team struggling currently, Legatum at 1-3, whereas Nocturne's not on that same front, on the opposite end of things, a little bit higher in the standings.
Let's go to the standings and actually see how this breaks down before today's game. Obviously, one of the games was played offline. That's Sinister Esports up against Old Lions Esports, and that's why you can start to see this divide. So if Nocturnes find this win here, Toli, today against Legatum, they will join Sinister Esports as the same scoreline. It's all about game difference.
That's true, putting themselves a little bit closer. This is week 5 currently. This is the week 2 rematches. If they find the victory here over Legatum, then they're going to be able to find that week 3 rematch. And if they win that one, the Nocturnes putting themselves pretty to head into Masters.
And the big thing here is that it's 6 weeks of competition from the SMITE Global Series, boys and girls. And if they actually do come out of that and be the top team, they get to come to the LAN this summer, face off against the SPL teams and represent their region.
It's going to be important for Nocturnes to finally find their footing in the international scene, because a lot of these players have the experience. They've been around the block. They've definitely succeeded within their own respective region, but there needs to be that extra step to be able to crown themselves as the champion.
Completely agree. Let's get into picks and bans and see how this one breaks down between the two. Obviously, coming into this today, Nocturne is going to be the favourite. Legatum have a lot to prove and a lot to work on. But maybe we can see some signs of life here today. Maybe we can identify where their biggest issues are and maybe, give them some advice.
It's all about trying to shut down Beltway in the solo lane alongside SMITE in the jungle. Nocturnes really rely on that right side of the lane, trying to find the pressure, look for the invades. If Legatum can find their footing to be able to stop that momentum, they could have a chance.
Odin, Artemis, and Aura taken away. Chernobog is available, but it will be the Agni ban instead, so Nocturnes get the option to take Chernobog here?
It's possible if they wanted to go for that global pressure. We saw it in the SPL. Some teams favoring it. Rival versus Energy. I believe there was one set where neither of them actually picked or banned it, thinking like game 2. As Circuit is the first selection. Good aggressive god for SMITE.
But definitely make sure Legatum don't necessarily go healers here with this circuit, doesn't it? As soon as you see a circuit, a lot of teams like, well, healers aren't really on the table as easily as they once were. Ganesh, your first pick for Legatum, wanting to sort out the support role early. I'm surprised it's the Ganesh that early.
I'm even more surprised that it's a Robin selection, knowing that Circuit was already locked in. Normally you're running Robin jungle, and with the Circuit jungle locked in, probably not going to go support. That's more of iRaffer's thing in the European SPL side. I was surprised because you're seeing 2 mid bans out of Legatum, but not taking their own mid pick. I thought they were going to go for a Thaw or a Giannis.
Well, Jabalanki and Guan Yu. Guan Yu definitely flexible, can support, can jungle, but Circuit's already locked in. Solo lane is the kind of standard place where you'll see that Guan Yu. And I kind of expected this. With the Circuit pick first for Nocturnes, it's kind of like, well, you guys can't really go healers, but we can.
That's true.
And that's where this comes from.
Guan Yu conviction, very powerful once you get maxed down around that level 11, 12 marker, trying to start making those rotations. Once you get a little bit of cooldown reduction. Legatum now locking in their mid-mage Thoth, trying to ban away some Guardians, though, despite Nocturnes not locking in their mid-mage. Where's the Giannis ban?
That's true. They could have gone for some mages there, but I guess they're not so worried. Do you like the Changar ban from Nocturne, though, just to deal in case it's going to be the Changar solo lane against the Guan Yu? Kind of spells that it's going to be Guan Yu solo. When you ban that, it's like, well, we want to run Guan Yu here, and he kind of has a rough time against Changar.
Surprisingly, Nocturnes were the one that banned away the Giannis, despite Thoth being already selected. Maybe there's some spicy identity from Legatum that can run this double mage composition, maybe in the solo lane Giannis to be able to make those global rotations.
Well, we have seen mages in the solo lane before, more recently so than ever, but I mean, Devious once upon a time did run Giannis in the solo lane, and it can make an impact across the map without even being there. Discordia locked in then for the mid lane, very escapable, very good at locking people down and causing confusion more than anything else in team fights.
Discordia with the Strife makes it so obnoxious to really disengage, whether you're only the one target that gets rooted or 2 or more that get into the Madness effect. With Cerberus on top of it will amplify their Discordia damage.
So with the Amaterasu lock-in, Legatum just going to almost surrender, I would say, the solo lane. How does Amaterasu do against Guan? I would say Guan has an easier time in the early game, right?
Well, as long as you silence the Tello Assault, you should be in a good position to get the lane clear advantage. And on top of that, you have the bullying advantage with the Amaterasu passive, applying the debuff for the 10% extra damage. And before Guan Yu's Conviction becomes really powerful, Amaterasu will just out-trade Guan Yu.
Well, let's find out how this one breaks down in game. Then we've got plenty to talk about once we get in there. Because I do want to talk more about this Amaterasu versus Guan Yu lane. Because this one, as you said, the silence does cancel out the Tello Assault. But at level 1, Beltway should be the one with the pressure in this lane, surely.
Should be the case because Blanks is going to get his second ability. Shouldn't really get the silence unless he's going to be purely aggressive if he's expecting some sort of rotation from Roja on the Robin.
Well, duo lane, it's going to be the Cerberus and Xbalanque up against the Hachiman and Ganesha. This lane's relatively even between the two. It's just about who has the aggressive nature, and it looks like it's going to be Nocturnes here early on. Xbalanque with the branching bowler. You got to be careful not to stack next to your creeps, because if you do, the bowler's going to swing at you. Early clear advantage for Nocturnes, just based off the fact they were more aggressive and standing up in the lane.
It's also the Cerberus having so much pressure with a Ghastly Breath. I like the way he positioned himself, NICE2 Lover, on the side of the lane to be able to ensure the Ghastly Breath to hit all 6 minions. Even though Paralyzing Spit does more damage, it takes longer to charge it up when you have to use 3 basic attacks.
Couple of things that Legatum just did in that duo lane too. HZ with the Hachiman decided to drop the banner looking for damage onto Zion 6 instead of going for the wave, which actually delayed them on the wave clear, which allowed Nocturnes to steal the whole of the purple buff uncontested.
A little struggling is Legatum in the duo lane, not really respecting this duo lane pressure between the Xbalanque and the Cerberus. As a result, Nocturnes invading the purple, going to be able to rotate back to their own, getting a 2 buff advantage. However, at least Legatum can out-clear them in this next wave and maybe deny some minions under the tower for at least 75% reduced gold income.
So all the camps in the jungle down, bar the back hop is at the top side for Legatum to take. But at the moment you can see that Rojas is going into the jungle on the right-hand side. As we tune into the duo lane once more, Zion 6 having to fall back a little bit. Obviously, they're going to get pressured on this wave just because they got both those purple buffs.
It's so important for Nocturnes to keep the pressure going in this next wave. They have a pretty significant advantage with 3 health potions and a multi-pot still for Zion 6 to be able to tank it up. Upgraded Sprint from NICE2 and upgraded Shell from Chile. So if they're ever out of position on the Chaos side, they will get punished.
Well, Blanks there, he could have got punished a little bit heavier in terms of health bar, that's for sure. With what he just did in the solo lane up against Beltway, he went for the dash to silence, missed it. And if you miss a dash like that, you're going to be in trouble.
And that's always the case with Guan Yu. You're kind of dancing around with your Tello Assault to avoid that disruption.
Yeah.
And even if you do get hit, not the end of the world, because Blanks is not going to hit your archers with the dash, not going to be able to really get the damage off the way he would like to. And there's a longer cooldown on that glorious charge. 3-second differential between that ability versus the Tello Assault.
You can see duo lane now having a bit of an easier time of things from Nocturne's game in. Is in the jungle, SMITE. We're going to get a kiss off onto both targets. Getter under pressure, going to get back towards the tier 1 tower. No dive in there from SMITE, recognizing that it's going to be very difficult for him to find that kill.
Not without the last breath at the very least. You're going to kind of wait that out. Level 4 Guan Yu versus level 3 Robin. Oh, that Thawkus Matero making his presence felt.
Oh, that hurt a lot, and Rojas has to fall back to base. He will survive, but Blanks now in a 2v1 at his own blue buff on the left-hand side. Shell used by Chile. He needs some help for HZ, and HZ just trying to stand in the minions, but he's going to fall down. First blood to Nocturne's game in duo lane, and you could kind of see that coming from the start.
Sometimes you have to respect the opposition and just concede the wave instead of giving up a first blood, because now the Xbalanque for Zion 6, with all that extra gold bounty, can easily back to base very quickly to finish off those Devo gloves.
Blanks just dashed in, missed, and now SMITE is in the lane. Blank's still at level 5, and the slowdown from the dash from Beltway will allow SMITE to get in range and find the kiss.
Oh,
the body blocks attempt was good, and clean up crew in aisle right.
So good of a rotation coming from SMITE, forcing Roja away from his own blue buff, getting it secured for Beltway. Both of these soul laners desperately need blue buff to stay relevant in the laning phase. And not only that, even killing out Blanks, now granting SMITE that level 5 presence that he really wants to apply in the mid lane.
You mentioned something, Joe Pixel Bad, totally that I want to go back to. You were talking about the Raven locked in after the circuit.
Right
now,
away.
Is that because Circuit is good against Raven? Or is it just because he shouldn't have been picked at that time? They could have waited a little bit
They
longer?
could have waited a little bit longer.
I thought it was a matchup you were talking about. That's why I was bringing it up.
Well,
is there an advantage for Circuit in that?
Robin should have an advantage
Yeah, that's
over
what
the
I thought.
Circuit, having the overhead kick and the Mystic Rush. But when you are getting out-pressured before even level 5, having to back under your own tier 2 solo tower, that gives a lot of freedom for SMITE, even despite having a disadvantage in the matchup, to kind of do whatever he wants. And he had that about 10 to 15 second window to apply that pressure onto Blanks.
So full build starting to come through from a couple of players. I get to in the mid lane on the top. Hasn't done much more than farm so far as he's challenging his judgment now. Cast a curse online, but SMITE's here and Getter's too far forward now. Gonna get kissed, but luckily Rojas was right behind. I think if SMITE realized Rojas was only level 4 there, he could have continued being aggressive.
Definitely could have, but I think Lean was too far away from the action for the follow-up. Playing it rather safe than sorry. Can still look to play aggressive with this 1 level advantage. Needs to put pressure on one of these side lanes, and look where the Circuit's going.
Yeah, right to the right-hand side, because the blue buff is about to spawn once more. Beltway SMITE grouping up once again. Nocturne's definitely one of the most experienced sides over in Latin America South. And the one thing about them is that they've been to the World Championships quite a few times. So, a bit of international experience for quite a few of them.
Oh, the body block interception from the glorious charge. There goes the last breath, and there goes the second death for Blanks.
Should have ulted earlier there, I think. He recognized he was in danger. He ults early on. He gets back in at least tower range.
That's true.
So if they're going to go in for the kill, they're going to end up taking a couple of tower shots. Maybe give a window for a rotation from a teammate. Not to be, though. 3-0, and now Rojas losing his jungle, gets kissed. And, well, the horse he was there for a second, who wasn't needed much of, as Getter in the mid lane fired that final judgment looking for the kill. Couldn't find it on Lean, and now he's in trouble.
Oh, the dash is good. The stun is even better. Lean trying to juke away, but it's not going to matter because SMITE gets the great flank, being a part of 4 of the 5 kills. Nocturnes, what separates them away from the rest of LATAM South is their ability to min-max a lot of their efficient farming and the way they kind of optimize some of these fights. Around the blue buff invade, the first one, when Beltway was kind of Talu assaulting Roja, then Talu assaulting Blanks, and then he eventually switched to the blue buff. He realizes all those first 2 targets were out of range, so he switches to the blue buff. Those little things don't really seem like much, but you could definitely tell the mechanics from this team is superior.
There's a 3k gold lead for Nocturnes now, and the experience is even bigger. 4,500 at 6.5 minutes in is a monstrous amount of experience. And you can see that SMITE has a huge lead over Rojas in the jungle now. 3 levels already. Rojas just trying to defend his jungle against Beltway, who's having a free farm. And the left-hand side's not much better. Chile's in trouble, ulted back in. GG, jobs are good, and that's kill number 6.
Great knock-up and good interception. NICE2 Lover was able to intercept that Ganesh dash. Geta, though, making a comeback, trying to impact this, but without the dash, can't make it happen.
Yeah, he dashed earlier to try and close the gap a little bit more, but it was a very good sprint. Leading a bit of trouble in the jungle here, but SMITE close by, as are the other members of Nocturnes. Final judgment came out from Getter, but didn't find a target again as Rojas falls, and then NICE2 Lover cleans up Getter. Totally, this is almost... This is almost reminding me of a couple of games of the SPL we've just seen recently.
Very true. Yesterday, the European SPL, Dignitas not having the best of time against Mao's Blanks, trying to survive against his level 9 Guan Yu. And Roja with his second death. I want to touch upon the way he's playing some of these interactions. He's holding on to his ultimate for a little bit too long. The Mystic Rush ability, not only does it do a lot of damage, but once you land, you get all that damage reduction. When he died on his back camps, he never ultied. When he died right between the red and the purple, he could have used that ultimate to apply the damage onto Lean and maybe survive a little longer against SMITE.
SMITE on the left-hand side now was trying to gank onto HZ, but a nice wall placement down just at the corner, spotting him out ahead of time. And NICE Chile was just around the corner waiting. This is an awkward game now for Legatoon because 1 goal Fury, and you could almost start putting the writing on the wall with this one. Nocturne's just in full control in every lane, and you look across the map and you're like, where can you look for help? Well, nobody is in a position to do anything. Maybe Getter?
Getter's the only one. He did have a level advantage earlier, but Lean able to make that comeback happen after that great rotation from SMITE in the mid lane and between the red-purple. The Circuit got an established dominance in the side lane, transitioned it into the mid lane, a true sign of an elite jungler, being able to reap the benefits of one and transfer it over.
Rojas still fighting the mid lane, and still no ultimate out for him there. The apple wasn't even needed as he bursted down very quickly thanks to the Crusher out from SMITE. And I will say already, MVP is definitely the Circuit in the jungle. He's just put his stamp of authority on this game. The start of the game, he's 4-0-3 now, involved in 7 out of the 9 kills this team's had.
And he's doing this with purification beads at rank 1. I don't think he even had to use it the entire game, whereas Roja opted for an aggressive blink, but I'm not seeing any sort of successful aggression from the Robin.
Well, more aggression coming out here, and the final judgment being channeled. Nice little jukes away from Chile there to help out his mage, but his mage just ended up hanging around in the mid lane.
Spread on the minion, and then it spread right back onto Chile. Finally, Roja makes his presence good. Triple knockup.
That could be some kills here. Chile's one hit from death. NICE2 Lover giving chase. Just needs one more attack. Round the back though, Beltway's coming. And even if they think they're safe under this tier 1 tower, surprise, there's a horse on the way. That should be a double kill for Beltway. And that puts them to 13-1 in less than 10 minutes.
Sparkling rainbows from the Unicorn, healing up his Cerberus support, being able to top him off just for the moment, no problem whatsoever, dashing through blanks to get 2-second reduced cooldown on that conviction. Beltway in his most primal form once he makes these rotations, sitting at level 12, maxed out conviction.
You know what, Guan Yu's so fun to play, but he's not fun to play against. Not when he gets a lead anyway, Toli.
Definitely not. When you have that 20% cooldown reduction from the Breastplate of Valor and then all that mana, the MP5, getting your own blue buff, stealing away Blank's blue buff, sitting pretty is Beltway off of the success from SMITE's early game.
And the one thing we're going to say about Legatum then is I think they just kind of sat back and allowed Circuit just to wander into the jungle. I think there's going to be some adaptation here from the team. Duo lane fell behind early. Mid was fine. Getter did okay. He's not scared of firing that final judgment either.
Definitely
Even
not.
though he can't hit it, he's still firing it off regularly, which is a good sign.
Definitely shows a little bit of confidence from him, and if he can find the pick or even just a damage, if not lethal, to force SMITE to back, that'll give Roja some more farming time, and that's very important in the higher levels of play. You don't always have to go for the kills. Nocturnes, outside of that last tower dive, never tower dove before that. Every sort of kill was very clean
Calculated.
and very methodical, and that's what allowed SMITE to get the lead originally, because Roja had to back under that tier 2 solo lane tower when he was only level 3.
Well, NICE2 Lover was under a bit of pressure there for a second, but nice little secure of those oracles. Meanwhile, mid lane, SMITE is up to his old tricks again, looking towards Getter, who's ulted. He's definitely going to fall down, and I believe that poison did spread to Chile. Even if it doesn't matter anyway, because he's dead under the tower as Beltway makes a rotation. However, around the corner, Blanks was about to arrive, but after seeing that all his teammates are already dead, and it's a 5-man grouping from Nocturnes, it's time for a tier 1 tower.
So unfortunate for Getter that he's still sitting at level 11, doesn't have that second relic available to him to be able to get that Aegis off. And that's so important against the last breath, which is why certain gods, or certain players rather, will consider their options at level 1. It's like, okay, what are the threats on the map? All right, there's a lot of CC from Lean and NICE2 Lover. That might be a threat, but there's also a lot of damage over time from SMITE.
Well, bye, Rojas. Oh, he used his ult!
And the
And a blink. Good job. He survives for now. Maybe HC. Well, luckily he's got a horse too, because otherwise Beltway would have closed down for another kill. Go Fury, Pyromancer straight after each other. We're only 12 minutes in, and I'm already looking at a fire giant potentially here for Nocturnes. They're really trying to put Legatum to bed really early here today.
They thought that Roja was still around the corner. They were correct in thinking that, but he just separated himself further away from Nocturnes.
Listen.
But you're right. The right side of the map is definitely open for Nocturnes.
I was going to say, at the same time, using that sprint just to get the red buff, definitely worthwhile at this stage. Deny them experience and farm, even if you don't get kills. The kills, almost worthless, because no one's worth any gold or experience anymore with how far they are behind.
It's very true. Trying to get more stacks as Zion 6 on his Devo Gloves, trying to deny level 12 on Getter, just now hitting it so he can back for that second relic.
And talk about the second relics from Legatum. I mean, only 2 members have them so far. Blanks has his available, as does Getter, but it's been so recent that they got them, where Nocturnes, well, almost a support is at equal level with a lot of the other characters on that team.
Never a good sign when that enemy support is the same level as your jungler. Roja been struggling this game, sitting at 1 and 4. Getter's still feeling frisky though. He needs to watch out for SMITE.
Too far forward, no tier 1 tower. Has to use his dash to get away. Blink's available for SMITE now, as he did take that relic. But Legateam going to start grouping towards mid. Chile going to eat a little bit of damage there from NICE2 with a nice little stun, followed up by Lean.
Nocturne still very patient with how they want to approach some of these engagements, hiding around corners, looking for the poke, the root, resetting, and look how much damage Legatum took without any sort of real commitment from Nocturnes.
First time where Legatum might have an advantage in the mid lane here. All 5 members are here and only 3 members of Nocturnes. In with the Ganesha up, but NICE2 Love are going to pull them all in. The apple went underneath them, but he still hit a targeted spread anyway.
Oh my goodness, the spread is so real. Smitero takes out Chile, and that's going to be another double kill as Roja falls. Make it another one for Zion 6-3. 4 dead members from Legatum, and this Fire Giant is looking mighty tasty.
I mean, they did manage to kill NICE2 Lover there, but the one thing that happened, Nocturnes knew they were in a 3v5 and went, all we're going to do is waste their time and survive and allow our teammates to rotate in, and that's what happened. Jabalonke and Beltway turn up, and the next minute, it's a Fire Giant the way of Nocturnes.
You need to evaluate every second worth of fighting versus every second of rotation to see, but Lanks right here looking for the steal.
Can he steal it, though, is the question. Buck's going to go in for it, but won't have the chance. He'll lose his life as well as Nocturnes get all 5 members with the Fire Giant. I like the call from Nocturnes, from Legatum in one way, totally, to group up as 5 in mid because they are behind and try and find a pick.
They needed to make something happen.
Well, they invested everything into Cerberus, though.
That's
the issue.
It was a good counter ultimate from NICE2. Despite dying and finally finding the kill, that triple knockup allowed so much follow-up damage from Lean, and the sheer patience from Nocturnes to be able to consistently look for the long-range poke and reset without giving anything back in return is what's giving them this dominant 20-2 lead.
Right-hand side, Roja's under pressure again, only at level 11, being chased down by 2 level 16s. That's a lot of damage even for a warrior to take. He'll fall down too. And now to the right-hand side, Legateam members start to rally because this tier 2 tower is being pressured by SMITE.
Beltway in a 1v3, but it's just a zoning thing to allow Smitero a little bit more tier 2 tower damage. Just level 16 Guan Yu with Breastplate of Valor, with 4 stacks of Hide of the Urchin. Not concerned about these low-level members.
You're not going to have any issues as a Guan Yu at this stage. Meanwhile, in the left-hand side, Nocturnes have 2 members group just pushing down towers. Tier 1 falls, tier 2 shortly afterwards. 2 members of Nocturnes also in the mid lane, while everybody on Legatum is pushing for a tier 1 tower on the right-hand side.
Nocturnes just slowly and surely checking off the boxes as they go down the list, whereas Legatum is scraping. They're trying to climb up from this ditch that they just put themselves in. About a 14,000 gold lead.
They put themselves in a ditch, but they keep on digging down is the problem, Tyler. They just went for a tier 1 tower with 4 members, and it wasn't even full health. I don't think you needed everybody there. You could have slowed them down on the aggressiveness a little bit up and maybe save one of those towers a little bit longer.
Thoth is so important for the defense with his long-range hieroglyphic assaults. The invade, punish, stun can set up some easy poke, maybe even kills. Nocturnes Gaming trying to go for their second goal Fury 17 minutes in, extending this goal lead to beyond 16,000.
No one really around from Legatum to be able to do anything at the moment. Nocturnes in full control, and that's all we can really say. What do we do game 2? What do we see different from Legatum?
In game number 2, the Guan Yu was a little bit of an issue, but that was because of how successful Smitero was in the early game. So either Legatum camps the Guan Yu early game, or just kind of identifies where Smitero is on the map and have more bodies collapse on him. If this Circuit is going to invade your own jungle before level 5, there needs to be pressure from Thoth and the Amaterasu to collapse on him.
Pyromancer has respawned, and Nocturnes could go pick that up for some bonus gold, even though they don't really need it, because I don't see them ending up back in base anytime soon. They've just purchased items, still have the Fire Giant, as Blanks will get rid of that Magi's Cloak off Smiteru for now. And Beltway in the jungle, well, you can see how much damage HZ is doing to him, which is nothing.
Level 12 Hachiman against a level 17 Guan Yu. Good stun from the Cerberus Roja. Forced to use that Mystic Rush defensively. In goes NICE2 Lover. Good Stygian Torment. Diving the Middle Phoenix's Beltway. There goes the Darkest of Nights. And that'll set up for the Middle Phoenix.
Yeah, it's all about the Middle Phoenix, really, from Nocturnes. They're not really caring about kills at the moment. No real damage is hurting them whatsoever. There's a lot of poke out from Legatum there, but it didn't stop them from losing any health, thanks to the help of Beltway and that Fire Giant buff.
Still just slowly poking and backing off. That's rinse and repeat procedure from Nocturne. So clean. Now transitioning to the right side of the lane. Get a very low, blinking in. SMITE eliminates him.
When you've got beads and Aegis and you still fall down, well, at least Aegis, you still fall down, it's going to be a bad time. The poison spreads for SMITE again, and he gets a kill onto Rohaz. Next on the list is HZ, and that's going to be a triple kill for SMITE. He deserves a penta here, Toli.
He wants it so badly, trying to find the kill onto Blinks. He dunks down, and he gets the Quadra. It's up to see if he can find Chile.
The
Who's
team
going to
will
help?
dive. Will they be able to find the kill? It's all nice at Chile. But it looks like they're going to go for the Townsend instead. No penta for SMITE today.
Not today, but a clean victory,
Yes.
putting them closer to closing out this set. Great performance from Nocturnes. Legatum, however, need to go back to the drawing board. Need to figure out a way to shut down SMITE's early game.
And that's the big thing then as we head into picks and bans for game number 2, is what we see differently out of Legatum. Because if Nocturnes win this game, they will go top of the region again, just on game differential. They were tied on points, but they would have taken less games to do so. I don't think Legatum can really stop this train from running, though.
It's going to be difficult. I think that there's a clear and distinct skill gap between these two teams. For the summer, at least. Fall is going to be a different story.
Sure.
At least you have a lot of video footage to be able to reflect back onto, learn from your mistakes, or at least learn from your opposition that's better. Because, yes, Nocturnes is the best in their region, clearly, but that doesn't mean that you can't learn from them and find what their weakness is.
Completely true. You've got to try and explain, and especially when you see them come to the LAN all the time. You get to see them play at LAN and go,
yeah.
oh, that's how we beat this team. Game 2 then. Underway. Let's get into picks and bans and find out what happens here on this one and see if there's anything they can do differently this time round, because one thing that I know is that the draft order Ganesha so early in the draft, it's not a priority pick. I don't see the reason for wanting to go Ganesha so early. The same with the Raven, as you mentioned,
Sure.
mainly a jungler now. Why pick it so early when already they had a Circuit?
I think if you're looking for pressure, Ganesh is not the way to go. It's
No.
either Sylvanas or Terra to be able to really control the laning phase. I think if you're dealing with channeled abilities, then you go for Ganesh. The silence is very clear and easy, but it's against the Circuit. Didn't really make too much sense there. I think that there needs to be a more prioritization for the mid laner, trying to get the thought. Because if you're going to ban away mids, normally you would pick your mid right off the bat, but that wasn't the case.
So Cupid Jabberwocky banned away by Legatum. No idea why the Cupid banned, but you know, it's going to be Hunter bans for everybody. So there's a lot of things left open for Legatum to look to take. Maybe Giannis for the mid lane. How do you feel
Possible.
Geta was confident enough in his play to play something like Giannis?
Geta definitely looked for some 1v1 plays in the mid lane, trying to shut down that Discordia, and had a level lead every now and then for the majority until that level 19 fight between the red and the purple. And if Legatum was to win this game, it has to be the back off of Geta.
Well, Legatum going to take first pick and look in Cerberus. Nocturne could have taken Circuit here. Chose against it. Instead, they went with the Susano this time round. And once again, Beltway's going to get his Guan Yu.
Guan Yu worked out for Beltway off of SMITE's Circuit. Still had Circuit available, but opted for the Susano, maybe trying to flex his guns and just be a little bit more adaptable.
Raw for Legatum as well. They should be looking for Circuit themselves here then as well. I mean, Circuit is on the table. I don't think Nocturnes will necessarily take it, but with game 1, I think Nocturnes could almost run anything and be quite confident.
I think they're looking for team fights as opposed to the Circuit, trying to group up as a unit, get that AoE Suns online. Huyi, not the most popular hunter of choice, with having Chernobog coming out, having a lot of late game damage between Jabberwocky and Artemis. Huyi kind of fallen in the ranks, but this time Nocturnes are the ones with a thaw.
We're going to see the Changa banned away by Nocturnes yet again, just to make sure Guan Yu's nice and easy in that solo lane for himself once more. Do you reckon Legatum go back to the Amaterasu again in the solo lane, or would you put the Cerberus there?
I don't necessarily mind either. I think the Amaterasu struggled early game. Missing a few of his glorious charges was a big deal, getting out-poked as a result. If you're not going to use that to stop the clear right off the bat, then you're not going to have a clear, distinct advantage, and that's where Beltway was able to kind of collapse on the blue buff with SMITE.
Very true indeed. Medusa will get locked in for Nocturne's gaming then this time round. Bit of a difference in the duo lane, obviously with Ho Yi. They still need a support unless they're going to run the Guan Yu there. Hercules is the man on a mission for Legatum. They're not too bad against Guan Yu.
Same idea as the Amaterasu, except you're going to deal
Easy.
way more damage
Yeah.
with the driving strike. Hun Bats alongside the Hercules. A good amount of control for Legatum this time around. Hun Bats, Hercules, Cerberus, even the Huyi Suns.
Yeah.
You're looking at some of these jungle fights that can last a long time.
Very true indeed. Finally, a Fafnir locked in for Nocturne's gaming. Then it will be Guan Yu in the solo lane, obviously. And Fafnir joining Medusa in the duo. Here's your money, Am.
based off the skill gap alone, I gotta go with Nocturnes. I like the draft a little bit more though from Legatum. I feel like
I do too.
I feel like the Hun Bats has great synergy with the Hercules. There needs to be more prioritization in camping Beltway. Don't allow this Guan Yu any freedom.
This should be full aggression from Legatum here, and I don't understand why Chile took the stun. He took the stun?
That's weird, because last game it was NICE2 Lover that opted for the Ghastly Breath. It takes 3 basic attacks to confirm hit damage to get those heads a little bit on alert.
Well, early on, there's a little bit more pressure from Legatum in this duo lane, but Chile is going to reduce his wave clear and his poke potential by going for that stun is the issue, and it's actually allowing Nocturnes to even things up a little bit more so. He's having to wait for a long time for his cooldowns now at the time that he did that stun, so once again, Nocturnes even things up. This won't be an invade potential here, but it's going to both fall back to purple buffs when realistically Legatum should have the advantage.
Absolutely, and if they look back at this tape, they can clearly see like, hey, listen, NICE2 Lover got his Ghastly Breath and they had all this pressure. Chile, you should have got your Ghastly Breath too.
Especially after NICE2 Lover missed the hammer too, because there's so much free poke onto that Fafnir that he can't do anything about except maybe run or sprint. Anyway, that's enough about that. These guys are going to continue fighting. In mid lane, the jungler's already getting aggressive. SMITE Taro rotating around on the Susano, looking to pressure in the jungle at level 2. Getter steps up to the wave and loses half his health once again. Not enough for a kill though as he gets in tower range, but that's going to force a couple of bad situations.
Oh, the overhand smash actually not connecting on the damage, and here comes the turnaround play. Roja without his jump needs to be mindful about this follow-up damage. Aline could look to dash in if he feels confident enough, but has to worry about the return fire.
Yeah, nice little turnaround from Legatum in the mid lane there, but like we said, it did cause a couple of problems for them. Right-hand side, Beltway versus Blanks, both with their blue buffs online. That will be just a farm lane of farm lanes more often than not, both with heals and both with warrior blessings. No one's going to die.
Beltway is respecting the potential pull push. That's why he has nothing to do with that minion wave. NICE2 Lover taking a lot of damage, but he's not deterred. He's allowing Zion 6 to get a lot of pot shots.
They're going to go back in. Bowspins pop Zion 6 losing the trade. The leaping is good. Getter gets first blood in mid lane for Legatum. That's big. Zion 6 could fall here too. And that will be a kill for Legatum. They're 2 kills up in the early stages. What a turnaround from game 1.
Very important idea to be able to flex onto SMITE. Finding the kill onto him shuts down his early game. First blood goes to Getter. Dual lane, a lot of pressure from Chile once he did get the Ghastly Breath. This Medusa Fafnir combination can't really match with the Cerberus Hui.
Blank's getting a little bit outplayed yet again by Beltway in this lane. Both equal at level though, at level 4 as it stands. Equal amount of minions too, as now the junglers start to head to this right-hand side. SMITE is already taking down the blue buff to give over to Beltway, as Rojas was on the rotation to try and steal it.
And despite being down a level, Susano still does a lot of damage with his Storm Kata. Just a lot of burst damage, Assassin's Blessing to be able to clear those camps. I like the idea that Roja was looking for the potential invade, but if you're not there first, it's just not even worth it at that point.
So now at the moment, it's a bit of a stalling game then from Nocturne's point of view, considering they did lose SMITE earlier on, but SMITE were undeterred by his death, going aggressive, but gets jumped on by Rojas one more time. Getter has his ultimate available, still far forward, and now going to take a bit of poke. Getter's very aggressive of a player, isn't he?
Definitely very aggressive. He's looking for even the snipe down the mid lane just to be able to clear it out. And if there's another god in the fire, sure. Why not? It's one of the shorter cooldowns in the game anyway, sitting at 70 seconds without any cooldown reduction. And knowing Getter, he's going to want to play more aggressive, goes for Shoes of Focus so he can spam his abilities. And with a Chronos Pendant and Mage's Blessing involved, it's going to be very quick 40% CDR soon.
Well, he's already at 20, and like I said with Chronos Pendant, no, it's technically 50 when it's on cooldown, so very, very useful. Oracles to Legatum. This is a much better game from them, stepping up. But meanwhile, Beltway going to ult very early against Blanks here. Blanks not really burning anything for the time being, but taking a lot of free damage. Still in the minion wave 2, a long way from home. And I guess that driving strike just cost him his life.
He tried so hard to get away, but he couldn't really find anything. And Beltway, just a mechanical genius, being able to min-max the speed of his horse by using the wall to slow it down to gain additional Guan Yu ultimate strikes. And on top of that, between his basic attacks, he drops the conviction between hits 3 and 4. The fourth one does a lot of damage, yes, but it takes a long time to charge up. So overall DPS gets significantly higher if you cancel the fourth strike with a conviction and go back to reset the chain.
Rojas going to go in on lean, but beads early on from him gets him out of trouble for a second. Final judgment somersaulted over by Rojas. Overhead smasher pick up the kill, and Beltway got some good damage off, but he's on his own. You can see SMITE wasn't involved in that fight at all, and now Guan under a bit of pressure here.
Going to be able to dash away. Beltway almost saving the life of his mid laner between the meditation and the conviction, but only level 1 heal, not going to be enough as Geta helped get that kill. Got the first blood onto SMITE, assists onto Lean as Beltway gonna struggle a little bit now at this point without his blue buff.
Zion 6 gets double tapped off the wall, still level 4 is this Medusa. Dashes out of the Suns and Chile's on the rotation. Zion 6 is almost certainly dead whatever happens here, because Chile still has his ultimate if it's required. Chile steals the kill. HZ won't be too happy about that one, because he would have liked that one in his coffers.
I think that it was actually the archers
minions,
that hit him, because the last damage source was the ghastly breath.
Yeah.
And I think that's how it works. Whoever hits him last, if the archers
Always
take
the
him
case.
out, it's going to be the case.
It's just like a tower, the minions do the same thing. If you hit it and then the tower kills him, you get the credit for the kill. That's why I get so many kills when people tower dive me. You know that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why
You solo them, basically.
I should start playing more backers, because what you do is you just sit under your tower, they dive you, and then you ult, and then they're all drunk, so you
That's
get
true.
loads of kills.
It's
great.
so annoying because even though that wobbling hurts their aiming mechanic, it also makes them move diagonally in a weird path that one more tower shot, maybe even 2, will seal the deal.
Interesting enough. 4-1, then Legatum are up here. A big turnaround from game 1. They looked like they were in a different class to Nocturnes. Not in a nice sense. Lower class to Nocturnes than we've seen previously. But this time, the baits are coming out. The pressure is on. Geta gets a good slow off. SMITE has to jump away. Rojas going to continue the aggression. Snipe was available for Geta, as was Fear No Evil, but neither were expended there.
Trying to just hold it on for a rainy day. Overstepping their boundaries, but not losing anything in response. Back camps wasn't stripped away. Neither was the blue, as Beltway still needs to find the timing as Blue Buff's coming back up now. And Legatum not on the prowl to invade it.
In goes Chile, looking for some aggression. Can't find the Sun onto Terror, who jumps away just in time. Left-hand side, Zion 6 just trying to farm up a little bit more. His build's relatively equal to that of HZ for the time being, but HZ definitely in a more commanding position in this lane.
It's all about the penetration and the cooldowns for both of these gods, trying to get off their crowd control. Beltway trying to defend his own blue buff, but the Excavate does too much damage.
Fear No Evil keeps him trapped in. The beads were used by SMITE, but he jumped back into the Fear No Evil again, and he'll fall down. Beltway was just too tanky to fall there at the end of the day.
Legatum improving significantly since game number 1, identifying the weakness from Nocturnes, which is the early game Guan Yu, invading the blue buff the first time, going for it again the second.
Zion 6 under pressure again, but going to take the fight. Great jump from HZ though. Zion 6 getting outplayed. The minions though, the minions!
Oh. The jukes from Zion 6. He avoided 2 basic attacks before the minions got in position to be body blocked.
That was a big kill for Zion 6 there, and he got a bit of luck on his side, but you need it in this sort of competition. Noity Lover will survive the gank attempt there from Legatum yet again. Gold Fury is available here, Toli, and is it about time we start seeing Legatum look to abuse that, or did that kill on HZ just change that option?
I think not quite yet. Zion 6 was a little too low. Fafnir only sitting at level 6. Needs his ultimate to be available to get that AoE coerce. It's going to take another 80 to 70 seconds for that to come back off of cooldown. And with the addition of Geta, I'm still feeling that there's potential to go for this early gold.
Well, 7 kills in 8.5 minutes so far from the two teams. The gold advantage is definitely for Legatum at the moment. It's about 2,500 and 2,800 experience. A much better position than game 1, because we were talking at 6 minutes, Totally. It was a 4,500 experience lead for Nocturnes.
It's important to see how Legatum bounces back in this set. They have the lead, they just need to keep extending it, and the small and steady dissections in the solo lane is the way to do it. With this blue buff coming back up, There is no Hunbat's presence. He's making his rotation to the left-hand side. The beads are not available for Zion 6.
Yeah, Rojas does have that blink available too, so this could be a nice little window
Not going for
to
it.
look for some aggression.
Surprised.
Could be instead the wards have been taken out, so they're going to go for the Gold Fury, grouped up after pushing the lane against Zion 6. Lean on the way with Final Judgment, remember, and that could be a secure option for them. Gold Fury still leashed and being continued to be leashed, but a very good Fear No Evil coming out from Rojas, just zones away Nocturnes. Nocturne's not happy about it, totally though, they're hanging around.
Oh, but he stood
betrayed
still
it.
for the Final Judgment. In goes the Dragon form. NICE2 Lover using that to disengage. The rotation from the solo lane has been called. Blanks
stun.
gets stunned out.
But in goes Rojas again. He'll get the overhand smash. The boulder off the wall brings NICE2 Lover down. Rojas is one hit. SMITE on the way. Zion 6 trying to escape to his tier 1 tower. Ring around the roses with the monkey, but SMITE still gets the kill.
A 2 for 2 and getting Gold Fury. Legatum feeling good about this one, but SMITE finding the kill on the Hunbats allows him some more opportunity for farming. Sitting with a 1 level deficit, this is his opportunity to get back to level 10.
So with that fight, then Gold Fury, as we said, goes to Legatum. So they did extend their gold lead a fraction because of the kills after the fact. It did even things up for a moment. Nocturne's got 1 or 2 there, which helped them out as well. The bigger thing there was watching the 2 chickens in the mid lane trade ultimates. It's not often you see that.
Definitely not. And surprisingly enough, both of those ultimates were not used for the Gold Fury secure. The Hunbat's ultimate stopped Lean from using Final Judgment. The one disadvantage of that ultimate is that you don't have CC immunity. So good recognition there, being able to secure the Gold Fury, but Legatum couldn't get out fast enough. Blanks making the hot rotation to help clean up. That excavate bouncing off the wall takes out NICE2 Lover, but then Roja didn't need to overstep his boundaries with that low health.
Well, Nocturnes now have to use their experience of playing so many games and for so long together about how to get back into this one, because Legatum haven't really taken their foot off yet. After doing gold, they go to the Pyromancer.
I don't think Beltway rotated in that last team fight, and he just soaked in all that solo farm on the right side with a 1 level advantage. Just now hitting level 11 is Blanks, and that's a great thing for Beltway when he was a little bit behind the Hercules without his own blue buffs. Needs to get in a position to finish off that Breastplate of Valor.
Legatum feeling a little bit too confident for their own good here.
Fire Giant hit him.
Evil aggroed the Fire Giant as well. So SMITE gets the kill. The greed from Legatum going for this blue buff may have been punished now, because Nocturnes could potentially turn this around. NICE2 Lover transforms and Blanks is in trouble.
Is good. Typhoon is even better, knocking up the Hercules and putting him back down. Chile goes in, but he's not setting up Geta at all. Geta's on the left.
But now Chile jumps in again. Well, pulled in, I should say, after the ultimate. Now it's just Geta left alone. No ultimate available. 1 by 1 like dominoes. Legatum fall for a blue buff. And the tier 1 tower is going to go, possibly even a tier 2.
Very possible. Chile needed to reset that fight. It was only him and Geta remaining against 4 healthy Nocturnes members without the assistance of the Hunbats or the Hercules. You're looking at a very lost fight. Pick up the scraps and disengage. Geta continuing to try to help his support, fell victim to that cause.
Just go to the graphs real quick for us, and you can see how much of a deficit that just dropped out of this. The experience is now even. Just because all those members were dead for a few seconds, it allowed so much experience to be soaked on the map by Nocturnes. And we're almost at an even game again now, Toli.
This is a great comeback from Nocturnes Gaming, adapting to the strategy from Legatum. They realized that the blue buff invades have been consistent. Guan Yu very powerful with it. That's why Legatum trying to shut him down. But Nocturnes 1 step ahead. They collapsed very quickly onto that blue buff, making sure that they would be ready for it.
Rojas in the jungle, looking to poke around the red buff, but that's currently down at the moment, given over to Zion 6 on the Medusa. He's currently set at 2, 2, and 1. Devour's Gauntlet stacks being worked on from those hunters. But all the action's been around these 3 in the mid as Rojas goes in again.
A great Fear No Evil forcing out the beats from Lean, but no other follow-up damage. SMITE looking for the cleanup. Not going to commit because he doesn't have Typhoon.
Early Aegis coming out from Lean there to try and survive any sort of damage. But here we go, SMITE being chased down. by 4 members of Legatum. The defense has been pretty good from Nocturnes on disengaging, and Beltway now on the way. Horsey's ready.
Trying to go into the back line. HC jumps over the right side mid-Harpy. Zion 6 takes out Geta. He actually gets pushed back a little bit, but there's no follow-up after the driving strike.
NICE2 lover jumps in, and CC chain on Chile, who has to leap away. Beltway happy to tag for SMITE for a second, and he falls back with a meditate. He heals everybody up. Tier 1 tower exposed, and a couple of weakened members of Legatum have to fall back.
Round 2 fight as Nocturnes is able to get the tier 1 middle tower. Not going to overstep for the tier 2 as Geta's coming back up in 10 seconds. That raw ultimate comes back very quickly. Not following up from Roja's ultimate is the downfall from Legatum.
Yep. That pinch that came out from Nocturnes was very good though. Everybody in Legatum grouped up in mid. Started trying to siege the tier 1 tower, find some picks. And Beltway from the right, Zion 6 from the left at the same time, just threw out ultimates that destroyed Legatum's communication and plan.
Very difficult to really make those adaptations on the fly. Legatum needs to be more synergetic with some of their ultimates if they want to close out this game, because their lead has basically evaporated.
So now with that Golf Fury respawning, Legatum have to think about whether they want to go for it so quickly. It's Nocturnes being the aggressors now, with NICE2 lovers starting to make these rotations and pressure Geta a little bit more from walking forward. Lean now at level 13, and just the solo lane more than anything else is where the experience difference is.
Beltway didn't make that one rotation around the Golf Fury, and getting all that solo farm. I believe he stripped away 1 blue buff from Blanks, and then that counter fight in the solo lane is what really put Guan Yu ahead. Still going with the same build, Height Aversion, after this Breastplate of Valor for a good reason with the recent changes to this item.
Chile pulled in after going for a stun, takes a bit of damage and has to leap away. SMITE thought he was going to go in there for a second, but not to be the case this time round. It's all about the Golf Fury now for these two teams, and you can see Legatum trying to set up a bit of a plan. I do like that SMITE picked up the Magi's cloak though, Toli, just especially against this Fear No Evil.
The way he's engaging SMITE is he goes in with his jet stream, does damage with his storm kata, but uses the third strike to dash away instead of the additional damage. It makes him such a slippery jungler that it's hard to even commit any abilities onto him, and with the Magi's cloak, going to be even more slippery.
Well, it looks like we're going to see Geta going for the Soul Gem. And I'm not so sure about this, Tolly, because that's over CDR cap for sure by a good 10%. It's one of the awkwardnesses. Obviously, once you sell the Blessing, you're back to okay, but it's a bit risky. Golf Fury reset as Nocturnes group up, but keep an eye on Blanks and Rojas rotating around the sides.
Trying to make the angle happen for the Fear No Evil. Chile going to start up the Golf Fury yet again, receiving the heal from Geta. Both of the birds having their ultimates. Who's going to strike first?
A little bit of crit online for HZ as well, and that's actually going to be a bit of a difference maker around this Golf Fury, because a crit could kill it a little bit quicker than Nocturnes may expect. Beltway on the front lines, going to get a bit of a Tallow Assault off to shred some protections. Golf Fury reset again, as Blanks dealing with the damage dealers out of Nocturnes for the time being.
Good push onto Beltway, but the Conviction maxed out. He receives a lot of healing. Chile, sitting at level 10, doesn't have the most defenses in the world, only with a Sovereignty and a tier 2 version of that Heartwood Amulet. Look where Roja has been. He's been there for the past 30 seconds.
Sneaking, trying to not get spotted, but I think Zion 6 may have smelt it. Although Rojas now in a prime position, goes in with a Fear No Evil and gets a couple of beads out. At least the Magi's cloak out of SMITE. Beads also used, but Rojas now under pressure, can't get away. Tornado through from SMITE will pick up the life of the enemy jungler.
Just couldn't get away. A great stun from NICE2 lover solidifies the Hun Bats. Chile goes in, knocks up Beltway. Raw ultimate comes through, but hits no one.
And SMITE in trouble. Boulder disconnects and allow Geta to pick up the kill on Zion 6. It's a 2-for-1 exchange in favor of Nocturnes, who are falling back themselves. A little bit worried about the pressure, trying to resustain. Low mana and Lean, low mana and NICE2 lover and SMITE. Whereas Legatum, different story.
Losing 2 members, still going for the Golf Fury, feeling confident that they can get this, but Beltway's here. He's helping top off his teammates. Yet again, the Golf Fury's being reset as Blanks trying to zone for as long as he humanly can.
Push in from Legatum and Beltway, and Legatum get the Golf Fury, and now they're going to retreat. Nocturnes can't find a kill, can't punish them for that. Great play from Legatum to recognize they could go for that.
40% cooldown reduction from the Ra, putting his ultimate at such a great point to be able to secure that objective. I would like to see Roja kind of slow down his engagements instead of being the first one to strike in the backline. He needs to make sure that there's no, or at least not every single cooldown on the book that he has to worry about. The cavalry charge was used, the Typhoon was used. There was no possible escape for Roja.
I really think if NICE2 would have leapt in there to that little area where Rojas used that Inferno Evil and ulted first, he probably would have got a couple of the relics out early, and then Rojas can reinitiate straight afterwards and find a potential kill. But hold on,
Geta getting stunned out. 4-man stun from the cavalry charge. Legatum does get the Pyromancer, but Nocturnes wants some blood.
Yes, SMITE are going to look towards Blanks. Not really the target they're after, but he's the only one on the far forward. No support from Legatum in position, but a final judgment wrecked the backline of Legatum.
Roja trying to escape, will do so. A great counter snipe from Geta. What a final judgment from Malin. Not only does it secure the life from Blanks, but he also positions himself to hit the remaining 3 members, putting a good advantage to Nocturnes Gaming to win that fight 4-on-5, while Zion 6 was split pushing on the left.
So they're going to tier 1 tower on the left, and tier 2 is being looked at on the right by Nocturnes here. 2 members to defend, and that'll be a sign for Nocturnes to fall back into the jungle. 12-8 then, 20 kills in 20 minutes. That's what we like to see. And the gold disparity, well, it's nothing. It's about 500 Gs. But 5k experience, that's a big swing from the first 10 minutes, totally.
It's definitely mostly onto SMITE and Beltway now. Sitting at level 17, the Susanoo was 1 level behind at one point when level 9 versus the level 10 out of Roja, but not able to really make it was this Hun Bats to extend that early game lead. The blue buffs invades were too telegraphed to the point where it was a counter gank from Nocturnes, and I'm still scratching my head where Roja invaded the purple buff, but didn't invest his Blink ultimate onto Zion 6 that didn't have his speeds available.
Yeah, that you do look back at that and go, well, that was a missed opportunity. Would it have changed the state of the game?
Possibly.
Maybe, because Zion 6 did get a kill later on in that interesting trade between the two. But at the moment then, Legatum have got to rethink what's going on, because the team fights aren't going their way. The communication seems to need improvement.
The problem is Legatum, they're collapsing under the Ra sustain, which is what you definitely want to do, but Nocturnes Gaming throwing all the AoEs on the book, and most of it is Beltway's cavalry charge. He doesn't even use it necessarily for all of the potential hits. He wants to get the stun off as quickly as possible to allow for Lean to follow up, whether it's the final judgment or the hieroglyphic assault. Doesn't matter. The player damage is so high out of this level 17 Thoth, top player damage of the game.
So Chile going to come over towards the Fire Giant, looking to ward it up and de-ward for himself too. And that's all the dance will be for the moment. It's about sentries in the inventory. 1 advantage for Legatum. So they should get good control for the time being here. Looking through the builds, I do see a bit of anti-heal coming out from both sides. Obviously, Blanks with the Pestilence, as well as NICE2. But on the right-hand side, Divine Ruin picked up for Lean, which is going to be very useful.
Definitely wants to shut down some of that raw sustain. Divine Ruin, a great look with how much range this Thoth has. Fire Giant being started by Legatum, sitting at about 50% health as Blanks gets knocked up. Trying to set up a bait. This is not going to be committed. Or hold, I thought it will be.
Fire Giant's going to go down. Nocturne stealing away with the final judgment. Meanwhile, Chile goes to the backline and rallies. What was that call, guys?
I thought it was a bait to allow Blanks to look for the pull push, but instead, Nocturnes Gaming, they steal the Fire Giant. They find themselves 2 kills, looking for more.
And now Chile's in trouble. Pulled back in. SMITE once again. Make sure HZ pays the price. Only Rojas lives in that because he took a different route back to base. Nocturnes, though, will meet him at the base now because Fire Giant round their waist. It's only a Phoenix available to defend it.
Man, Legatum too impatient. They didn't even have a gold lead any longer the way they had in the first 5 to 10 minutes of the game. Look back in game number 1 with how Nocturnes Gaming was so patient with their lead. And look at Legatum in game number 2. Of their impatience. That's the clear distinction between these two teams.
Notice what Zion 6 did there on that aggression. We got to start follow through his eyes. As soon as the monkey appeared, he beadsed, expecting a Fear No Evil. But no Fear No Evil available. I love that he did that anyway, just for the safety factor.
Absolutely.
Like 100%.
Could have used a Petrify. I'm not really sure if he had the cooldown available, but still, either one would have been a good call. There's not going to be another team fight for quite a while anyway.
Sure.
The Fire Giant around Nocturnes Gaming waits for about 2.5 minutes. Have plenty of time to back to base, purchase a bunch of items, and look for some more Phoenixes.
There was just no confidence in that call is what it felt like to me. They made the call, but the confidence wasn't there because nobody landed abilities to secure the objective. If anything, when you look back at that Fire Giant fight, SMITE disrupted Getter enough to make sure he couldn't fire his ultimate at the time he wanted to.
That's very rough stuff for the SRA in the back line. To survive against SMITE's level 20 Susanoo, so much damage. Like, who's going to peel the Susanoo that has Mad Guy's Cloak and both of his defensive relics that wasn't even used in that last encounter?
Definitely the biggest thing Legacy need to adjust totally is when they get a lead like they have been doing, they need to continue to farm as they do take these fights. Because that's one thing Nocturnes have been doing, even though they've taken fights and agreeing to take these fights, they are finding farm as well.
It's not always about farming or finding the kills. It's just being opportunistic at the moment.
Yeah.
Roja had an opportunity on the left-hand side about 15 minutes ago, didn't go for it. Legacy had an opportunity to not throw their lead, but they decided not to do that either. They wanted to force a little bit too much despite all of Nocturnes being right in front of them.
It's one of those games where Legacy will look back and go, wow, we made so many small mistakes that just continue to allow Nocturnes a way back in, and now the confidence is all theirs. Great pull on two targets, and they both leapt away. No escapes available for either of them now. Chile is the only one alive for a moment, but NICE2 Lover and SMITE are giving chase with the heavenly agility. That was a nice bit of burst damage onto SMITE to make him reset.
Gonna reset for the moment. The rest of Nocturnes trickling down the middle lane. Fire minions are about to flood into the right side. A 5-on-4 advantage as HZ dead for 30 seconds.
Chile getting poked out as he was trying to back to base, and that means he's not going to be available for this Phoenix defense. It's 3-on-5. In goes Rojas with the Fear No Evil. A couple of beads expended, but Rojas is almost out of life. SMITE giving chase, but a nice pull from Blanks saves the life of his jungler, but maybe not his Phoenix.
Middle Phoenix goes down very quickly. Without their Hunter, it's difficult for Legatum to hold on longer, but look at the patience from Nocturne. They're not overstepping the boundaries. The call instantly is to go to the tier 2 tower on the left. Great patience.
Belly easy to tank this up for himself as well with that conviction. He's going to have easy heals for days if required. One Phoenix remaining then for Legatum to defend. And the hope of going to a game 3 is slowly drifting away here.
I'm really impressed by Nocturne's gaming performance. Even though there's a distinct skill gap between these two teams, it's just their ability to make these plays happen without giving much in return. The early game was a little bit of a struggle for Nocturnes, but all their patience paying off in the end.
Well, struggle for Rojas as well, who just took on a fight with SMITE and didn't really win that battle too well. Have to limp back to base again. SMITE just trying to pressure these fire minions in a little bit more, but he's going to head back to base. It's a fallback call from Nocturnes.
Trying to make something happen at the 26-minute mark. Fire Giant fizzles away from Nocturnes Gaming so they can easily reset. This time, it's Nocturnes Gaming with a 10,000 gold lead. Their first real lead in game number 2.
Player damage, top of the chart. You can see it's lean on that Toth with 20,000. Followed soon after by SMITE. Only Rojas really up there in amongst the rest of the Nocturne squad so far. Legatum's only real damage dealer this game.
And a lot of this damage from Lean was just his ability to consistently poke. He didn't get the Soul Reaver until much later in the game. He was just very accurate from a long distance.
Fire Giant's about to spawn here, and that's why Nocturnes and Legatum both around. I like the call from Legatum to try and contest this because it's their real last stand here. With a weakened Phoenix on the right and on the mid lane, Phoenix being down, they need to try and defend this Fire Giant, find a steal, find a win.
Definitely agree with you, but they don't need to be this far forward. They just need to have the proper vision necessary and also defend their middle lane, because if a couple members die, some fire minions is going to start chipping away at this Titan.
And that Phoenix mid lane being down is exactly the area they're going to be going to. SMITE comes around the corner, finds Chile, but he's already at half health. Blanks needs a hammer to the face, has to drive and strike away. That forced the Suns out from HZ, but Blanks has been blanked. SMITE gets a getter, and that could just be game.
Roja goes in and he gets taken out. 4 dead members. HZ jumps up and he's going to get sent right back to the grave. It's a clean DSI. No one from Nocturnes Gaming even appears to be injured with all the healing coming from Beltway. And yet again, Legatum just a little too impatient. The Fire Giant wasn't even started and they're still overexposing themselves.
Legatum led this game for about 15 minutes from the outset, but Nocturnes and their experience and the fact Legatum made some awkward mistakes there have allowed them to come back into it and end the game 2-0, going top of Latin America South in the SGS.
This is a great start now for Nocturnes to be able to close out this split. If they can find another victory next week, that'll solidify them to the Masters land.
It will, and that's the most important thing then for them getting to the Masters land to take on some of the best teams from around the world, some of the European SPL teams, as well as the other SGS regions as well. We'll find out later on as well who they'll end up facing. But let's have a look at the standings just so you guys can see exactly what we're breaking down.
Now, despite that one loss onto Nocturnes Gaming, they didn't look like they had that loss. They did lose in week number 4 to Sinister Esports.
Yeah.
And that might hurt them if they lose next week to Old Lion.
O-Lion. Well, I don't know. Old Lion's kind of at the bottom as well alongside Legateam, so wouldn't be a surprise if Nocturnes do make it here, but great place from Sinister. I think that matchup's definitely an interesting one between those two here. Those two LATAM teams, one of those LATAM teams will come to face off against LATAM North. Winners of that make it into the series. But that's it from SGS today. Commiserations, we can't continue broadcasting them because of the minor league coming up momentarily. We're going to be having a look over in North America all day today. It's SMITE minor league followed by the SPL. Stay tuned. Me and Tolly be part of it. See you later. Good morning and welcome back to the SMITE Minor League. If you're just joining us today, me and Tolly will be bringing you the game from the desk of the picks and bans and a breakdown of the minor league set we're about to see today. It's all about North America, Tolly. We're going to be seeing one of the best teams. Basically, very nice to me is the SPL waiting room, as we like to coin the phrase over here as the casters.
It feels that way because they just look so strong. And if we look at the schedule as well between these two teams, CRYPTIK struggling a little bit compared to at least Very Nice to Me, and it's mostly due to the experience of these two rosters.
Yeah, Very Nice to Me versus CRYPTIK, definitely a big one. First place versus roughly third. We'll see the standings in a minute. And then later on this week, we'll get to see the Pappies versus Fear No Evil and Armada versus Sanguine. But here's the standings for you, so you know what a breakdown is today. Some of the games have already been played, obviously. Very Nice to Me currently 8-0, whereas Team CRYPTIK sat at 4-3 before today's games. They have a chance to have some momentum.
Need to find a victory here because in the previous week 2 matchup, they did not. They did find a game against Very Nice to Me, but they need to find a clean set and then still hope for a little bit of assistance from other teams.
Now, even though the minor league over in North America may look like Very Nice to Me does have it in the bag, and rightly so, the one thing that these teams are really looking to do is show their ability to play at the highest level and maybe get themselves picked up for an SPL team.
It's very true. Payne Devion being able to lead the boys here
yet
again alongside Wowie in that deal lane, and that's where the strength really relies on. It's just not necessarily the talent pool, because a good amount of talent is on the other side for CRYPTIK between Day to Remember, between Ratchets here.
Big
There's
names.
potential. I think it's more about the shot calling, being able to rally the troops together for the neutral objectives.
Yeah, both these sides do have talent that has made the SPL before, looking to either get back to it or at least show their worth. Let's get into picks and bans then and find out exactly how this one breaks down and see what ends up getting banned out, because North American Minor League is definitely a kettle of fish that's always nice to tune into.
It's going to be important to see if there's adaptations to the Chernobog, because in the SPL it seems that teams have been prioritizing it in SMITE Minor League.
Sure.
And we're going to see if CRYPTIK will elect that one.
Well, Guan Yu taken out first of all. Guan Yu has risen to fame as time's gone on. A little bit more dominant in solo lane now. He's got a bit better wave clicks. He's got a cleave attack as part of his auto attack chain. And then Nice to Me going to take away that Chernobog, which we were expecting to either be picked or banned.
Achilles is a nice ban against Very Nice to Me. Not only could solo or troll play it, but Stanford Soccer has been looking a little scary with how aggressive he's been recently playing.
So Changa, Guan Yu out. CRYPTIK have the first pick. Artemis has been picked a lot in the SPL as first pick. Instant lock Zeus, though.
Not sure about that one. I know Aggro in the back is just fist pumping in the sky right now.
He will be, but at the same time, I mean, Zeus being first pick, there's a lot of things that can shut down a Zeus, especially because of his lack of mobility.
The thing is, a lot of recent Zeus love with the early rush to Rod of Tahuti means that even though there are members that can collapse on you as a Zeus, as long as you get off the damage, you can allow your teammates to clean up.
That's a good point, and in a team game like this, it's important at this level. Xbalanque Athena, going to be the dual lane more than likely for Very Nice to Me. A Toth locked in after from CRYPTIK. Okay, now it's getting interesting. Where's that Zeus going? Where's that Toth going? I tell you what, if that was another mage, I would have been like, all right, I'm done already.
I'm guessing it's going to be Zeus in the solo lane. Thoth is more important to get off the long-range poke. Although that could also be in the solo lane, Thoth, if you think about it, because it's very safe with the long range. Zeus, a little bit better in terms of the small corridor skirmishes.
Odin's really good against healers, but what else he's good against is gods that can't get out of rings, and that's the one thing that CRYPTIK have drafted 3 of so far.
Yep.
This Odin pick at the time, Very Nice to Me, just identified that and went, yep, let's do it.
I was wondering when the Odin pick was going to happen, because with a Zeus, you either want to pair that up with an Odin or against a Zeus. You also want to collapse and shut him down. Trying to force an early Phantom is Very Nice to Me with this selection, which could still go in the jungle. Stanford Soccer has been known to play this from time to time.
Do love the Hellbound from CRYPTIK there, especially when the other team's got the Odin in the bag already. The amount of sustain that will come out means that that poke from Toth and Zeus won't be as beneficial for CRYPTIK this time round. They are magical heavy, so now we're going to have to see where they end up going with the rest of their comp here, CRYPTIK. They're going to need 2 physicals here for sure.
Definitely need a mage for Very Nice to Me with Ra is the selection. Knowing Mosswell, it makes sense as to why the Hell was banned originally. He's also played some Aphrodite, but switching things up to the Ra has the long-range artillery to at least contest with the Thoth Final Judgment.
Will be a Ho Yi, and now I'm really interested in what's going to be picked for CRYPTIK's final pick here. Need a jungler, unless they're going to try and run Zeus Juice in the jungle, which is the only one I can really see doing it.
It's going to be Cerberus, so
Okay.
it could be Zeus jungle.
It might be. Could also be Thoth jungle.
Really?
Has more mobility than the Zeus with the dash. Being
Where's
able.
clearance, say, though?
The clear is still pretty solid with the hieroglyphic assault, and
Okay.
also the surprise stuns through the wall from a Thoth jungle could be the deciding factor.
Yeah, but when there's an Erlang Shen that could be running through the jungle against you, that low mobility could come back to haunt him. I think you're right. It must be tough because Zeus has no real escape if he gets picked in this jungle now.
That's true, but he'll just have that old return damage. If he's alone and isolated, Zeus will not have a good time. I'm hoping to see the Thoth jungle.
You reckon it's going to work?
No.
You know?
No, not against Odin and Erlang Shen. I think there's just too much lockdown potential, whether it's the Mink form to chase you down or the Odin cage to keep you contained.
Well, let's get it over to the casters then to cast this one. Enjoy that Zeus wherever it's going to go, Aggro and Finch.
Thank you, Graham. Thank you, Totally. It is Finch and Aggro here, bringing you the cast as we go ahead and move into this game. And, you know, sometimes you could tell what kind of day it's going to be. Sometimes there's a sign. And for me, that sign is this tie. And I know what kind of day it's going to be already.
It's going to be a fun day that I'm excited to be here for. That's what this tie says. Every time I wear it, you should know that I'm here and I'm excited to be here and it's going to be a good day.
And you've got something tied around your neck for a reason that's unbeknown to me, and we're about to move here into game.
It's a fun tie.
If you say so. I don't know how I agree.
Yeah,
but it is
Zeus
going to
jungle.
be
Yeah,
Zeus
I
jungle,
thought
as we
so.
thought, yes.
Yeah, okay, look.
Yeah, talk to me about this. Why is this a great pick that's definitely going to win the game?
It isn't. It isn't a great pick that's going to win the game for Cryptic. I just don't. Like, here's what I don't understand, okay? If you're going to do something wacky, sure. Especially against a team that you feel like you likely can't beat straight up, like Very Nice to me.
They're very good, yes.
I get that. I really do. But why go Zeus Thoth? Why go them back to back right off the top of the draft and then let the enemy team know that you're doing something wacky? If you just pick Thoth, do you really know that Moswell's going to pick Zeus? Is it that important to you to make sure that doesn't happen? I don't know. It just feels weird. Also weird.
Not more important than giving up the whole strategy right away. Almost certainly not.
Data Remember going to try and proxy between Tier 2 and Phoenix, but it looks like no one's going to chase him out. Instead, they're chasing Ratcheteer.
They are chasing him down, and they're going to be able to collapse right on him. Wow, right here has those bolas branching and ready to go. So Ratcheteer is going to have to go back around the safe way behind the tower. Meanwhile, Data Remember now lining up near the red buff for a moment, but he's not going to stick around there either. Now he's on his way back towards the wave.
It's because Moswell realized that could be a potential strategy and forced him off of it. Moswell might miss a mid creep for that and actually would prevent him from hitting level 2. So if that does happen, it's a small win for Team Cryptic, and it looks like Data Remember will at least get one buff as consolation and then actually head towards the red.
You know, this is interesting. This used to be one of the things that really set Hu Yi apart, right? His jungle clear was just really, really good compared to all the other hunters, and it's something you can kind of do. But, I mean, Hu Yi's seen some changes. He's missing out on waves. He is level 2 now, Ryan, but, I mean, is this working out for him? Is Data Remember coming ahead here?
No, I don't believe so. I mean, they're going to lose both their buffs on the left and duo side. I mean, he'll get back Harpies here, but the chance of him just outright dying for this is really high because now he has to back in this spot, and that's what he'll do. But what does he get to back with? I mean, he gets to back with Boots 1 if he wants it. Doesn't even get that. He just starts heading back to lane. There's no way this is beneficial for Day over what Wowie has gotten thus far. Even in just counting the Hunter's Blessing stacks, where Day has gotten very few in 1, and the other side has quite a bit.
Cloud already had to use his beads in the mid lane. Adjust does get good damage on his Sam for Soccer, his opposing jungler, as he is the Zeus, but not going to be able to find anything more than that. So was the duo lane such a foregone conclusion? As Dante the Fargo hits a nice stun on Solo or Troll. They're going to continue to box this out. Slow lands, not quite able to get the kill. But was it such a foregone conclusion for Day? I mean, why not come in and just do the lane? Were they going to lose all the pressure?
Well, Adjust is going to fall for first blood, and all the pressure is gone in the mid lane for sure now.
Yeah.
But I don't think so. I mean, yes, they were going to lose pressure on that side of the map. No doubt about that in my mind. But just start at red buff, use the Terra walls to guarantee a quick triple bounce, and then you could clear red, get to the wave beforehand, before it all dies to the tower. You lose all the gold from it, but you get all the XP, and that's what's more important in the early game anyways. Then I think that's just an objectively better start for Cryptic's duo lane in this spot than going for that sort of odd Data Remember invade where he doesn't really even get that much for it.
Well, on the XP charts at least, it does appear that Data Remember has come out a little bit ahead of Wowie, at least so far. Well, maybe there has been some benefit to it, but they're still relatively close, so not as if a tremendous lead has been gathered, but this could be trouble for Solo or Troll. He's already used the shield, Adjust clearly recognizing it, gets the jump to come out first, unable to find the Lightning Storm, and the blink back in. Solo or Troll, calm as you like. Man, just to make it right on out of there.
Huge gank by Jungle Zeus there. I mean, what just pure luck that Odin gets out of that one, am I right? Goodness.
Well played by Solo or Troll as well. Just want to give him credit. You know, it's really nice that he was able to stay out of combat so he could still blink back out. You know what I mean? Like that's, I mean, that's the real key.
Zeus's worst part of his fight is in lane, and that's where you go to gank people. Like, you know what? You want to fight in the jungle.
Yeah, that's where Lightning Storm is very, very good.
And where Chain Lightning is better.
It is also good.
I mean, he clears camps pretty well, which is a requirement to be a jungler, but just
good stun.
Not a fan.
Well, beads come out here from Data, remember, to get away from that two-man taunt by Pain Devion. Does land a nice stun onto Wowie, but it seems that very nice to me. Feel pretty comfortable just about everywhere here on the map so far. They did grab first blood. Solo Troll is a little bit behind Dante LaFargo here in the solo lane, but I think he's okay with that trade so far. Other than that, I mean, things are still relatively even. Just a small gold lead around that first blood, and a little bit better farming for very nice to me. And to be honest, I mean, I don't dislike the rest of Team Cryptic's draft. I mean, if they can get a nice setup from Terra, from Dante LaFargo, the Stygian Tournament, they have plenty of damage to follow up with. It's just, can they get to that point where they're fighting as a unit that way?
They definitely do have a lot going for them with this team composition. AoE damage, good damage overall, but they are really magic heavy.
They are.
Pain thought about ulting over to the solo side, decided it wasn't needed. I mean, if 4 magicals, Hu Yi being the only one, we'll see.
Trouble for Pain Devion. He gets knocked up inside the Suns. Wowie dashes forward the Rising Jaguar, but now he ends up having to use the Purification Beads. Ricochet hits, but it's just the single shot. So Wowie and Pain, both very low, are also both going to make it out. Pain's backing. Wowie still hasn't yet. He's going to hang around, maybe try and grab some more farm instead of backing early, as Defender of Olympus is enough to bring Pain back in. So I like that. Wowie stuck around to get Pain back to lane very quickly.
And Wowie wants to make sure he has enough gold for finishing off his Devo gloves whenever he does. Back to base. Snipe gonna land onto Adjust, and there he goes. No beads for him. He went for Aegis against a Sam for Soccer Erlong Shen that is going to be very easy setup for Maswal in this spot.
I mean, yes, that is very good setup, but I mean, he could also easily have an interaction with this Athena, as now Cloud in some trouble in the jungle. Sam for Soccer finds that knock-up, lands on the Data, remember, jumps in aggressively, does
Nice
find the kill
bounce
onto Maswal with the Ricochet to at least trade his life out, but he has to run for the hills with everyone right here trying to chase him down. Sam for Soccer willing to dive, so he is going to fall to Pain. Root lands, Sam's low, Pain gets stunned underneath tower, and Ratcheteer finds a kill in return.
That was a really good fight by Sam for Soccer. Day trades his lives out for Maswal's, which is mostly worth it, I would say, but there is some degree of feels bad for Data Remember because he doesn't get to spend this time stacking, whereas Wowie will. The only reason that he probably doesn't feel too bad about it is because Maswal was really far ahead at that point on the Ra, who's going for this Boots 2 Rod beginning, or could be a Chronos Pendant, I suppose, on the Ra. Interested to see exactly where Maswal goes with it, but I have come around on this build a little bit. I still think it's better with Rod of Tahuti than it is with Chronos Pendant because your power curve is fairly weird. If you just go Chronos Pendant, you don't feel like you're doing quite enough overall, but I think that once you get that Chronos or that Rod of Tahuti, your mana problems really disappear.
Some of those issues you can have earlier on when you forego that Mage's Blessing does end up getting resolved. As the dual lane, once again, going to battle it out. Pain Devion looking for a taunt to try and go in on, but it might be Team Cryptic who want to be aggressive. Cloud is nearby, but not going to come all the way over to the dual lane. Instead, he's going to head right back towards mid, not going to grab, looks like Oracles either. Adjust is going to be the one that handles that.
A little surprised that Sam isn't going straight for a Runic Shield or an Enchile, something to give himself some magical protection in the earlier stages, because like I said, this is a 4 magical composition for Team Cryptic, and I expect Pain to be getting a very early Heartward Amulet. Even, I think I would forego the Gauntlet of Thebes right away, though Gauntlet of Thebes does provide a magical protection aura once fully stacked, so there is some benefit to going for that Gauntlet early on. Would also give him some more protection against Day in lane, so I think either one could be correct, but Heartward Amulet needs to be prioritized here by multiple members of Very Nice to Me. Solar Troll should definitely be going for a Runic Shield as well at some point.
But is it as punishing as if it was this many physicals? I mean, building magic defense, it doesn't feel like it's as effective. So yes, it can certainly mitigate their damage out, but it's not quite the same as if they were like stacking physical defense.
No, physical defense is better to stack because it interacts better with towers. Towers deal physical damage, so you get a chance to tank those up very, very easily, whereas magical doesn't really give you that same benefit. Also, I love the Cerberus with this magical heavy composition because that Ghastly Breath strips away magical protections, and that is a really big deal because there's going to be a lot of those on the side of Very Nice to Me. You can easily go Spear of the Magus on Adjust or Clow and set each other up for more magical damage in the later stages. So I think that there is some merit to the overall team composition. I just still am not a fan of the way it's constructed in the way that you have to lane with it.
See if they're going to be able to make it through this laning phase. Things are going to slow down here just a little bit from where we saw earlier on with data members. You know, interesting start in the jungle. Just as I say that, though, Sam for Soccer's looking for Dante LaFargo. Defender of Olympus is here, but won't even go off in time. Adjust. This is where the Zeus wants to fight. Drops Lightning Storm and finds the kill.
And Sam just a little bit too far forward. Has to blink over Dante if he has any chance of surviving. And honestly, probably doesn't even there because Dante can easily chase him down with that leap. Cloud doesn't get comboed there. Well, not sure if he got CC'd before that. Can we actually check and see if Pain is leveling his taunt? Because it didn't look like Pain is leveling that CC ability.
It was short.
No, only rank 1. With how much setup you have with the Raw, I think putting that many points at shield wall is probably a little bit unnecessary. It's more about helping Wowie clear in that low clear duo lane that they've selected. So there is a trade-off for that, and that we saw it on display right there.
And I like the heads up from Cloud to not even feel threatened enough to use beads in that situation. Now they're on their way to come grab the Gold Fury. They do have Sunbreaker. They don't have Lightning Storm. Wowie is on his way to try and contest this, but it's just too late. Team Cryptic grab the Gold Fury. Now it could be trouble for Ratcheteer a little bit. Pin does land. A little bit of damage coming in from Cloud to try and help out, but Wowie finds the shot. Adjust now in some trouble as well. Searing Pain not going to land, but Sam for Soccer happy to keep chasing with the Blink.
Blink body block perfectly there by Sam. 2 for 0, but Cryptic get the Gold Fury. But Very Nice to Me now gets a chance to group up and take another objective, whether it be tier 1 in mid or the Pyromancer. Looks like they might try for Pyro, but this is closer to Dante's realm, and he's awfully healthy right now.
Yeah, the Gatekeeper Cerberus wants to try and stop them from grabbing the Pyromancer. Taunt from Pain is excellently timed to keep Dante LaFargo from contesting. He appears, though, to still want this 1v4 with how low Pain is. Cage is going to trap him. STG and Torment to bring everyone back toward Data. Remember, Clow now joining the fray as well. A lot of low health bars are Very Nice to Me, and they've got to look for the retreat.
Solar Troll's still not too worried about where he is. He's got lots of magical protection with that Genji's guard. But Day is here. Dante, I think, stayed a little bit too long. Leap in time to get away from that, but a better snipe from Moswall helps out Solar Troll.
Cloud's going to fall as well to the damage from Wowie. Data, remember, gets the double kill over to Wowie with the Rising Jaguar. Very Nice to Me have turned this around indeed. Adjust. Now in some trouble in the mid lane. Drops the Lightning Storm. Triple kill for Wowie on the Xbalanque Hunter.
Man, and that wasn't team comp dependent. That was just decision making there from Cryptic to stay around that long for no real reason. What are you getting off of that? There's not even objective to take on that side of the map at this point in the game. No way you go for a Fire Giant. Dante just stays too long. That baits Day and Cloud to stay for a long time. Adjust steps up for just no reason and is really learning the lesson of how careful you have to be with Zeus in comparison to the usual Susanos and Ravens that he's used to playing in the jungle. Cryptic just get wiped there by Very Nice to Me, and Wowie getting a triple on Xbalanque, getting closer and closer to finishing off that passive is scary.
It is indeed scary, especially if your Data, remember, level 10 still, struggling a little bit behind Wowie, who's been able to rotate and get a lot of meaningful kills, as well as grabbing the Pyromancer for themselves too, so that's going to have him a little bit ahead. Meanwhile, Moswall in front of Clow, level 12 now. He did go with that Chronos Pendant. I know we were eyeing that earlier. The Searing Pain came through really big for them in that fight, so that extra cooldown certainly paying some dividends for Moswall already.
Yeah, I think that it's worked out just fine for Moswall. He got through the hardest part of this build, which is in the early game without any sort of mana regen, really.
Well, he didn't have the normal pressure up against the Zeus, right?
Exactly, so he didn't have to worry about it quite as much. And now Adjust is just so far behind at this point. And it's surprising to me that no one from Cryptic is building into early pen, understanding there will be a lot of early magical defense on the other side, but it looks like Pain isn't going for Heartward Amulet and instead of Void Stone, which I think is just incredibly greedy. I mean, Void Stone is going to be really good for him, don't get me wrong, but the rest of the team could really use a Heartward Amulet with this much early damage.
Sam for Soccer has blinked in, pulled into the snipe, another easy kill, and just never even got a chance to get off the ground. Clow has Final Judgment charged, but does nothing. Sam for Soccer double kill in the jungle.
Maswal and Sam just working so well together right now, and that's the mark of a team that's starting to get really scary because the individual prowess of this team never questioned, just the teamwork, you know, how well they work together. It's looking really good right now, isn't it?
Yeah, Dante Lafargo getting a real up-close and personal look there in the mid lane as they end up dunking down on top of him. Now mid-tier 1 tower under siege. But I think you're right. You know, it is very nice to me roster really has been playing well, and it's such an adjustment too because Pain to Beyond was on the Anxiety Onset roster. That was the top team. Paul goes up to the SPL. You know, they had to make some of these adjustments rather quickly, and clearly they've done it. I mean, 8-0, lost no set so far. I mean, they really just look like clearly the top team in NA.
I think that Anxiety Onset in the spring split was an incredible team. It did a lot of really, really good things, and I think that this very nice to me roster, if they could somehow clone Pain to Beyond,
and play it like against them,
play against them would absolutely smack them. I mean, this team just has so much experience
it's a ton.
At the top level. Now, the experience not helping them here because they just backed the Fire Giant up, and CRYPTIK, this is a great call to burn this down, and they will get this Fire Giant. I just don't know how much it really matters in the end for them. I mean, they still are really on the back foot. The only way this is going to help them is if they can now group up and go towards the Gold Fury. But in the thing about Fire Giant, in these sorts of situations, we often equate it to about 5,000 gold. It can make up for about 1,000 gold a player in getting you into fights, but it really won't make up for XP very much. And that's where the real problem lies right now for Team CRYPTIK. Adjust is 4 levels down. 2 levels for Maswal ahead of his opposition, 2 levels for Wowie, and that is going to be really hard to combat.
Adjust is going to try and group up with the rest of Team CRYPTIK because it's actually very nice to me who appear to be coalescing on this left-hand side, considering pushing to tier 2, but instead have fallen back. But Adjust has gone to the Soul Reaver here as his next item. I mean, Zeus can definitely get off some big damage, but can you always get that Soul Reaver proc where you want it? And it's very nice to me have the Gold Fury pulled. CRYPTIK show up. Sam for Soccer blinks in. Taunt. Clow has the Aegis, so he is going to still be standing, but it's just too much. Sam for Soccer takes him down early.
And Adjust is going to be next. Ratcheteer trying to get away, but Sam doesn't look likely to let that happen. Blink forward from Solar Troll will crush down Data Remember eventually. Indeed, he'll get it finally, as Ratcheteer will fall as well. And that Fire Giant that CRYPTIK just earned, now barely a light in the darkness, only on Dante Lafargo.
Yeah, maybe it just made them a little bit easier to see, having that belt around them is very nice to me. Appeared to have no problem tracking them down the jungle. Gold Fury now under siege. Pain to Beyond and Wowie should be more than enough for it. Maswal free to push the tier 2 tower in duo lane. Meanwhile, Sam for Soccer stripping away some jungle, can even move towards Pyro and along with Solar Troll. If they so choose, they kind of have the map to themselves.
This Hasten Katana forced Sam for Soccer on the Erlong jungle. I'm not sure that I love it. I mean, it makes sense because of how immobile the composition is for Team CRYPTIK. I mean, it's so easy to catch up to a Thoth for Erlong Shen or even a Hu Yi with that leap. But you already get hastened effect from that 72 transformations that I don't know how much I love it, but I mean, it's worked out so far, so it can't really complain.
It definitely feels like some of these build choices are in response to their exorbitant lead as Solar Troll takes down Adjust. Dante Lafargo very likely will be next as the taunt comes out. He is able to jump away, but I mean, jump to where? Everyone's still here. There's really nowhere for him to go. He falls to Sam for Soccer, who's unstoppable at this point. 9-1-7. Having a great game in the jungle. Pyromancer now being looked at.
Gotta say, man, the more I see it, the more I say it. Erlong jungle is so good. And let's be real, any god would look really, really good against a level 11 Zeus jungle at this point in the game. But I think that Erlong just brings so much early control and damage at the same time, and then can transition beautifully into a frontliner role in the late game. I really feel like Erlong is one of the jungles that should be getting picked more.
That's an interesting question, though. What jungler do you think would do the least with a 6-level lead over the direct opposition?
Zeus.
Zeus, yeah?
Yeah, Zeus.
Well,
if that counts.
We're definitely seeing what happens with the deficit here is Team CRYPTIK now 11,000 gold behind, 16 kills down, 17.5 minutes into this contest. Wow, he does get stunned, but staring down the barrel of a 16,000 experience difference with no level 20s yet, Ryan. I mean, every point of that is certainly relevant here at this point.
No, I'm kind of beating a dead horse on this one, but it just blows my mind that there's no Heartward Amulet against 4 Magicals. It's just crazy to me. I mean, it's such a good item as is against 2 Magicals, and we don't see it here against a team. Like, it just shuts the door entirely if there's a Heartward Amulet. There's just no chance for anyone to actually end up falling. Sam for Soccer takes a 2v1 and is going to win it.
Sprint means he can now catch up to Cloud without any real trouble. Final Judgment does get off, but it feels a little bit like screaming into the void at this point. Data, remember, uses the Ricochet. Apparently doesn't feel the need to use Dive Bomb. There it is. He's jumping over the wall, but following him immediately is Solar Troll. Is there an escape for this Hou Yi? I think not. Sunbreaker not going to save him. Sam for Soccer finds yet another kill.
Solar Troll just boosting up his damage mitigation numbers there. No, and also helping Day out a little bit to boost his player damage numbers. He's now second on his team in player damage. So it's worked out.
So what would Team CRYPTIK have done a little bit differently in the early game to try and get this game rolling more in their direction? I know you've already said you don't necessarily like the Zeus in the jungle here, and once we're in game, we can't really change that. What would you like to see him do differently early to try and make this work out?
And finding a way to time travel and change their picks and bans as
right,
an option.
I have taken that off the table.
Okay,
yes.
that's unfortunate.
No Chronos rewind here.
Well, I think that trying to maybe take advantage a little bit more of Solar Troll's aggression in the early game this is what Erlong does at times. And he's going to fall here to the damage from a Just, who does some decent damage despite being level 14, but it did buy enough of a window for very nice to me to get that mid Phoenix. I think that trying to maybe play around. Where do you gank as Zeus jungle? That's the thing. Like, you just can't. And you can't even clear your buff cams so quickly that there's no way that Sam can really rotate and invade those very, very quickly. I honestly don't. You have to hope that Very Nice to Me doesn't take advantage of your team composition, because you have to get to like 25 minutes and sitting a little bit behind to really have a shot. And once you get to that point, your team comp is really, really good. But if Very Nice to Me just plays aggressively whatsoever, it's going to be very hard for you to get there. Really, I mean, the decision that broke the camel's back was the chasing after the Pyromancer on the right-hand side.
Yes.
If CRYPTIK don't do that, then maybe they aren't at a spot where this game is basically over already.
Searing Pain puts the hurt on a Day to Remember Adjust. It does have the beads available, but even Celestial Beam is just too much damage at this point in the game. Pain to Beyond hunting him down. Wowie here with the Poison Dart slow. Adjust will fall yet again. Very Nice to Me. We're able to grab that mid lane Phoenix in their last push. So only 2 Phoenixes are standing. Fire Giant back up, then go grab that one at their leisure and come in for the next push and try and put an end to this one, as they're pretty clearly in control.
Also, the builds for CRYPTIK don't make a whole lot of sense to me either, with the Gem of Isolation for Adjust. Like, he needs pen against how much magical defense the enemy team is going to stack. No pen for him. Cloud is just now beginning his penetration. The early Soul Reavers don't really do a whole lot of benefit when you just need damage throughout your whole kit, not just right away.
Right.
By the time those Soul Reavers were done, CRYPTIK was already so far behind that even both Soul Reavers on one target likely wasn't going to result in the kill. They needed to get that penetration.
Well, that's a tier now in some trouble, as we're seeing that Hastened Katana in full effect, causing some problems here for the Terra. Not even able to find any damage there. Is Adjust now caged in with Solar Troll. Ratchet here falls. Solar Troll takes Adjust. Mid Phoenix is already down. Very Nice to Me can barrel into the Titan room. And it's looking like they've got game 1 here. Data Remember and Cloud are alive, but what can they do when they're taunted into Searing Pain? Solar Troll on a rampage. Very Nice to Me continue their SML dominance.
Man, it's just kind of disappointing to me, because CRYPTIK is the 3rd best team in North America right now based on the standings, if I remember correctly. And I just don't think that getting smacked in 22 minutes is a necessity for them. And if they go, if Adjust gets his Robin or the Susano, there's chances that he ends up carrying that game. And instead, they handicap themselves with this weird strategy that just had it was more than 0% chance to work.
A non-zero amount. Yes.
A non-zero amount that was also a very small amount, and it clearly did not.
Yeah, never got off the ground for him. And then take your hats off here to Very Nice to Me, too, because
Yeah,
if you go into a situation like this where it's something you don't play against and you're not sure what they're doing, they recognize to put their foot on the gas, and they never let up. You got to be able to win the matches you're supposed to win, and Very Nice to Me clearly can do it.
You're supposed to win against Zeus Jungle. And I could say that pretty definitively here.
Well, we're going to let the desk break it down for us in a little bit more detail. Go ahead and tell us a little bit more about what happened in that game.
Well, that was about as good as Aggro's tie. That's what we could say from their point of view from CRYPTIK. They first picked Zeus.
Yeah.
We're like, all right, cool. Then we're like, they lock in tough straight afterwards, and you're like, okay. Then you find out that Zeus is in the jungle, and then you look at the enemy composition, and you go, there's an Elang Shen there, Toli. There's an Odin there, Toli.
Yeah.
That's what they released to talk about.
I'm surprised that the Thoth was immediately after the Zeus. Knowing Mosswell,
That's the issue I have personally with it as well.
knowing Mosswell, he likes the healers anyway. So
Sure.
if you're looking for that kind of double magical pick, that could have been waited on a little bit. But the problem was also the fact that it was Zeus jungle instead of the Thoth jungle. I think there would have been more synergy for jungle ganks from the Thoth than there would be from a Zeus. Aggro made a great point where you don't want to bring the ganks to the lane. Where
Right.
Zeus struggles pre-level 5 in terms of lane ganks. The ability to survive that first gank from Solo or Troll, everyone missed him, so he was able to blink away from the get-go.
Sure.
And because there was no potential for a first blood there, CRYPTIK were the ones that were struggling. Very Nice to Me onto a rampage after the Gold Fury where, yes, it was CRYPTIK that got the Gold Fury at 12 minutes, but then immediately Wowie pops off, not even a minute later, with a triple kill, and it was just a great play.
Yeah, it was a good play then from Very Nice to Me. A nice, easy game for them. We should go into game 2 and hopefully CRYPTIK make some adjustments here because, well, no pun intended either. But I don't think that was necessarily the best call in the world to have that Zeus first pick. The only thing I can get about the Toth pick as second is because they didn't want the opposition to take that away. That was their game plan. It's the only reason I can see it. But then why pick Zeus first?
That's very questionable
Yeah.
to me. You could have picked Thoth first and
Exactly,
then wait
and
a little
waited.
bit on the Zeus later on. The strategy seemed like they were practicing it in scrims and it was
Yeah.
working for whatever reason, but not here at the SMITE minor league.
Well, that's what we're used to. Let's get into picks and bans for game 2, then we'll just pretend that one never really happened and see if CRYPTIK can do something different this time round. They will be first pick, first ban again. Maybe they run it back. Do you expect them to run it back?
I hope they don't run it back
Really?
because that looked very difficult for
It
them.
did.
Erlang Shen on Sanford Soccer made so many great plays, being able to blink into the back line, taunt multiple members, adjust, couldn't survive long enough to even get off his Zeus damage.
Well, already changes made from CRYPTIK. They're going to ban away the Fina from Pain to Beyond. No real surprise. It's one of his real go-tos, and he looked pretty good on it too. Guan Yu taken out alongside the Chernabug, and it's back to Nice to Me to choose what they want next. I'm not being played.
I'm surprised they don't leave the Athena open for themselves. If you're going for a Thoth or a Zeus or both, Athena would work very well with those two gods. Knowing that Thoth is banned, they could or should go for some global pressure. I was going to expect the Giannis, Bashibalanke, Darkest of Nights. Not a bad choice either.
A little bit of it more serious from CRYPTIK then without the first pick Zeus locked in. Nice to Me going to answer back with Terror, which was basically both teams are kind of switching picks right now for the time being. Nice to Me have an option to go for anything pretty much available to them. It will be the Cerberus, so kind of spells Cerberus going solo here.
More than likely. Terra, without her global pressure anymore, has seen less playing time in the solo lane, trying to help boost their Hunter instead with some of those roots and the stuns. Raijin will be the answer. CRYPTIK, understand just how much damage that does, but needs a great setup to get the confirmed Raiju percussive storm damage.
I do like it because of the Divine Ruin more than anything else that he can have so easily and apply to multiple targets for a good period of time. It's going to be impactful against the Cerberus and the Terror, both with a bit of sustaining those kits.
Or even the Gem of Isolation, being
Yeah.
able to slow multiple members. Raiju with the gem, really difficult to get out of there. It feels like you're trapped with glue.
But Agni at the same time, a pretty good response to that because he's got a nice bit of range to himself. Raijin has to kind of present himself to the wave now and again, so Agni can punish for that. The Chunga versus Cerberus matchup, well, that's going to be a farm off in the solo lane if I've ever seen one. But then again, that might not be a Chunga in the solo lane with how CRYPTIK played game 1.
I definitely agree. I think that there could be some potential for some jungle Chunga, some jungle Raijin even. We've seen it from other players, specifically DJ Pernicus, even some weekend action there in minor league. We'll see what kind of strategies CRYPTIK have, because if they run Zeus jungle in game number 1, surely they are capable of Raijin or Chunga jungle in game 2.
Probably are. It's over to Nice to Me then for their second to last pick here. It will be the Nemesis, which is an interesting one here, considering CRYPTIK don't really have any tanks. It's going to be impactful with the slows, however, but a lot of that can be escaped.
It's a lot of just focus firing the Raijin during his ultimate. He's
Right.
slow, he's very easy to lock down, he's just a sitting duck, and that could be the target for Nemesis.
Last pick for CRYPTIK then, they needed support to round out this composition. Or more than likely a support. I mean, I guess Chunga's not going to be in the jungle now, but could have supported if required. Ares will be the lock in here. It's going to shut down a lot of what NICE2 have in terms of their escapes.
I like this because Terra not being able to dash, you can't combo off of your Monolith Shatter.
Yeah.
And without those dashes, Terra becomes about half as impactful.
Not many of NICE2 have CC immune ultimates either, which actually comes into play with Ares a little bit more so because of that no escape. You can hold them all in, cause a couple of problems. I do like the Hachiman pick from NICE2, but I'll tell you now, Tolly, I'm kind of favoring CRYPTIK here.
I like the Ares idea, being able to have a lot of damage off. CRYPTIK will live or die by the Ares early game to allow the late game adjust for the Mercury.
I think I'm looking at the Mercury too. We'll find out what happens then. Let's get it over to the casters for game 2. Will CRYPTIK do any better?
Let's hope so here for CRYPTIK's sake. That was a rough game 1, but certainly a chance to turn things around and shake off that game 1. That's a sign of a good team. And they've got a lot of execution. I got to make sure they're hitting. Between the Ares, between the Mercury and the Chang'e, they got to make sure those are on point.
This isn't an easy to execute composition, but this is a much, much better team comp from CRYPTIK. And this is what I expected from them to do in game 1 even, is just draft like they can actually win the game. And I think they've done that here, and I'm excited to see how it turns out.
Well, they definitely have a chance as we move into game 2. It is going to be a just on the Mercury. Just wanted to make sure that there was no nonsense after what we saw there happening in game 1. So,
Finch, if that wouldn't have been Mercury Jungle, you would have been solo casting this game.
you don't like Mercury solo Chang'e jungle? You would
Honestly, that
call?
wouldn't have been the worst thing in the world. I would have. I wouldn't have been happy about it, but I would have accepted it.
Well, I'll tell you what's no longer in the game. It's Mage's Blessing, apparently, as Clow and Moswall both choosing to go with the, well, not with the Mage's Blessing. Clow going with the Bancroft's Talon start, and Moswall rushing into either the Soul Reaver or the Book of Thoth. We've seen him leaning a little bit more towards Soul Reaver recently, but some Book of Thoth has been there too.
Interesting that it's this orientation as well. If you would have told me that in this game we'd see one mid laner go for the Bancroft Talon and the other for that Book of Souls, I would have figured they would be switched. But in this game, they decided to go either way. I'm not a fan of the early Bancroft's rush on Raijin. I don't think that it synergizes very well with his kit. He's not going to be going in and being that, burst mage up close and personal very often. He really wants to do his damage from a distance like a traditional mage, and I don't think it's very, very good. But on the other side, for Moswall, I think that I would have much preferred to see him go. If he's not going Mage's Blessing, I think that starting with the Talon Trinket would have made a lot of sense for him. But the Soul Trap starter, the old Soul Trap, now called Book of Souls, can still be really, really solid. He doesn't need that much mana in the mid lane as Agni early on.
Right.
I just feel like you're missing out a little bit because Mage's Blessing is so good on Agni because of how it interacts with his passive that it feels weird to me to not go for it.
Yeah, Moswall coming in and getting the early clear advantage over Clow. Raiju's thrown back his way, but both of them staying here in the mid lane for now. They're actually going to let Ratchet and Data Remember come over and grab the red buff. Red buff already has been dropped by the duo lane. Very nice to me. You can see that one there for Wowie. So that's why they're sticking around the mid lane. The duo lanes took care of the jungle this time, as now our junglers are joining.
There is some benefit, though, to Clow's Talent Trinket start that he gets poked out at the beginning. Only has 1 health bot, but can still regen fairly quickly from his abilities. Is just looking for a little bit of damage and dashes forward. Sam and Moswall both too far away.
Clow here to follow up, puts a little bit of the hurt on Sam for Soccer. Adjust, very confident after having watched very nicely use some abilities there on that mid-Harpy camp. Goes in and gets a nice trade for his team. Meanwhile, the dual lane, a Team CRYPTIK still battling it out. This time we talked about that Ares had to make sure he's landing those chains. The Terra dash, Hachimani, Jutsu, Agni dash, same for Nemesis. I mean, that cripple can very much be strong this game.
It's absolutely massive to make sure that those land, because otherwise you're just giving up a lot of lane pressure. But if you can land those chains, you could honestly end up wresting away some of that lane pressure, because Terra is going to be a huge factor in that wave clear, and in order to do so, really needs to have use of that dash. So we'll see how accurate Ratcheteer can be in this game with those chains. But it's more so about those early to mid-game team fights on his rotations to cripple out Moswall and Sam for Soccer than it is in the early game laning phase. You can lose that early lane and still be okay as Ares, but if you fall behind and can't hit the chains and make the impact, once you start team fighting in the smaller skirmishes, then you're going to have a tough time.
And I like the the mentality from Ratcheteer, because Ares is a confidence pick, because you definitely have to make sure that you're on point with your abilities. You can be punished. If you fall behind, you almost certainly lose harder than any other Guardian, it feels like, in the support role. And after what happened in Game 1, to come back and say, I'm putting this Ares out there, I'm confident I'm going to land these chains and stay relevant. I mean, I like the mentality from Ratcheteer. I do.
There is something to be said about that. I completely agree with you that this, you know, after getting beat up in the last game, to go for something like an Ares is an interesting selection, but one I think could work out. Solar Troll's in a lot of trouble now. He jumped right in front of a Just. That should be an easy first blood for Team CRYPTIK, and it will be just that. And going to Dante is a huge benefit, because Dante has been a guy for Team CRYPTIK to really set them apart and get them a lot of wins, and to get him a lead is a great idea.
Two-man stun comes out. Data, remember, prevents it with the Purification Bead, so he is going to fall back. But the invade's on. Very nice to me. Want to come grab this purple buff. Ratcheteer right here to watch. Going to try and send out some flames, but not going to be able to out-secure 3 people. Pain to Beyond picks it up and heads right back to lane. But you're exactly right. Being able to get this Chung on to a comfortable position over here in the solo lane, she can be so oppressive when she's able to start rotating in. Waxing Moon, such a strong ultimate. The heal's obviously very strong. She's safe with her second ability too, with all the immunity it provides. I mean, once this Chung gets going, it's hard to stop.
It really is, and Dante is off to a pretty good start, but so is it Just, and that's really important to give Dante some comfort level in that lane as well, because if Sam comes over, then you're likely relying on a Just to help you out in those spots. But Dante did pick up the sprint early on, which I think is a good idea. Sprint used on this left-hand side defensively by Ratcheteer and Data, remember, as Pain and Wowie go to work. But here comes a Just. He's looking for the gank.
Cloud's here to try and get some damage off. Wowie has to dash away. Sam for Soccer wants to come even enough, but there's a Just with the Sonic Boom. Pain to Beyond is going to fall. Cloud wants to try and help even up these numbers a little bit. A Just going back in. Rain Fire gonna come through, but not enough. He dashes right on out of there. Team CRYPTIK with a kill and give up nothing in return.
Very, very close. They lose their relics in mid and jungle, and that is something to note, that a Just and Cloud both had to use their beads in that spot, but they do get the 1 kill. Cloud probably kicking himself a little bit that Wowie got away in those Tycho drums. But look at this. Dante invading the enemy's speed buff, knowing that Sam was on that left-hand side. That's just continues to give him some extra farm that Solo or Troll just can't match.
That's really good, actually, recognition from Dante LaFargo to not only, as you said, get himself ahead, but anything to slow down this Sam for Soccer on this Nemesis. I mean, we talked about it a little bit. The Nemesis had some struggles of late. And if you can slow her down, keep from finding these ganks, keep a Just going, and get Dante LaFargo ahead, it's just going to make matters worse.
It just feels like you press tab as Nemesis, and you see that Dante has sprint, and it's like, okay, well, now I can't really kill him. It just feels really bad whenever you see so many sprints on the enemy team and your entire kit is dependent on those slows. You really have to get those kills very, very quickly. Once your ultimate comes out, you can't rely on the chase factor at all against that Chang'e, which is oftentimes what you need is CC chains and things like that.
Ratcheteer does get hit by the slow in the Heavenly Banner, but it's not enough for the kill. Cloud's making his rotation over, but very nice to me. Appear to be falling back, or maybe not as Pain de Beyond moves up, but Cloud not going to come in. But you talked about how, you know, they're all building this sprint and it really punishes this Nemesis. Sometimes when you're able to force relics, it can feel kind of good, like, oh, they have to build Phantom, and that's not the best relic all the time, but
right.
Sprint is also just really good. You love building it, so it really hurts that it's an efficient relic that also counters you very effectively.
Exactly. That's what makes it feel really tough to go up against, is Dante showing why Chang'e is tough to go up against in that solo lane, easily immuning that Stygian Torment for Solo Troll, which certainly would have given him some problems, but Moonlit Waltz is a pretty good ability, it turns out.
It is indeed. Do you like having beads Aegis every 20 seconds?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Feels good.
It is good. And Dante LaFargo certainly putting that on display. Has Solar Troll kind of pinned underneath the tier 1 for now. A Just alone in the jungle with Pain to Beyond here. Not necessarily alone though. Cloud's here. So he does have some support. Stun not going to land. Goes in for the dash. Can't find it, so everyone going to just head back to their own respective farm.
Ratcheteer is a little bit behind right now because Pain and Wowie have had some good control of that dual lane side so far, but everywhere else has kind of been in CRYPTIK's favor. Solo lane is heavily in CRYPTIK's favor, and I like that Sam hasn't really worried about it too much yet. I wonder if there will be an opportunity for him to make kills happen on that side if Dante continues to stand on the tower line, but for right now, I don't think Sam has enough damage to really worry about it. Just not worried about this full-on gank anymore. Dante was trying to set him up with the Waxing Moon, but a little bit off the mark.
Yeah, not going to be able to find anything there now. So Dante LaFargo just going to come back towards his blue buff. Meanwhile, they're still boxing here in the mid lane. Ratcheteer needs to be careful. Sam for Soccer's on his way. Sprints come out. They're definitely going in for the engagement now. The slow is going, but no escape has been channeled. He pulls them all underneath the tier 2 tower. Clow with the Tycho drums takes down Pain to Beyond, and Sam for Soccer double kill for the Rage in the mid lane.
Sam just doesn't use his beads in that spot. It gets pulled under. Maybe he thought Moswell would have enough damage to finish it off. I don't know. Day is going to have enough damage to get killed there by Moswell, I should say, but Justice here trying to help out Wowie.
Wowie in some trouble. Adjust comes in, puts the hurt on him. Now looking for Moswell as well, who drops the rain fire on himself, but Adjust undeterred, has the spin, forces the beads, dash for good damage, and for the escape, almost enough for the kill, but Adjust will survive for now. Moswell just going to come back and try and clear up the wave.
Adjust has to use not a whole lot there, just the ultimate in that spot. And the Hasten Katana showing itself off once more. Saw it on Sam last game, this time on Adjust, and Mercury with Hastened has really become a big fad these days, and it really is hard to stop because Mercury does so much damage. He's got a great auto chain to knock you down very quickly, and that third hit does so much damage that the lack of damage that you get from the Hasten Katana doesn't really hurt you that much.
Now, I do want to go back to that last play here. Ratcheteer has gone with the early Gauntlet of Thebes. Before Pain de Beyond had his finished, already has that 21 stacks. Had it for that gank attempt they made in the jungle where he gets the no escape off. Does he get no escape off if that's cooldown boots or Traveler shoes in that same situation?
Likely not, no. I mean, the health alone is enough to give him a lot more survivability in those spots, and I think that's why Very NICE2 wanted to try and punish him, because they recognized that he didn't have any boots and couldn't get away particularly quickly, but he had a sprint of his own which covered up that weakness. And as I mentioned, Sam had beads, didn't use them, and then gets stuck underneath that tier 2 tower. Clow getting a double kill there is huge, and that was a good play by Ratcheteer and by Clow, no doubt, but one that Very NICE2 feels they could have avoided.
Pain de Beyond goes in for the root. Clow remains patient, again has the Aegis over any kind of purification beads, so didn't feel any pressure there from Moswell or Sam for Soccer, and is able to calmly come back. But Sam for Soccer clearly felt comfortable in that last engagement, kind of realized he was stuck in the tower and went to go in and fight, but Ratcheteer alone on this red buff. Sam for Soccer wants to come grab it. Adjust is here in the mid lane. They can't find their way in, though. Ratcheteer enough of a deterrent with Adjust and Clow behind that they have to fall back.
And Sam is just a little bit behind right now, back about 1,000 gold behind Adjust at this point. I don't know if Adjust got that first blood. Don't believe that he was the one who claimed that note. Dante was the one who got it. But he's been a part of a lot of what CRYPTIK has done, and he's got a lot of invades.
In some trouble now. Stygian Torment pulls him up. Sam for Soccer has dropped that ultimate as well. Sprints lets
off as well.
Dante LaFargo. Pain to Beyond not going to be enough. Cloud with the Tycho drums does deter them away. Meanwhile, Wowie has his mounted archery forced out from him as well on the duo side. So Dante LaFargo survives, and Wowie has the ultimate forced out.
And there's what I'm talking about, where it's Sprint just gives you so much safety against Nemesis. If that's a jungler like Thor or Fenrir, the beads are likely forced by Stygian Torment, and then you get to gobble them up and punish them. Cloud getting punished now in the mid lane. He has to use that Aegis after the pressure from Pain and Moswell.
Just though, going aggressive behind the tier 1 tower line, looking to try and line up a Sonic Boom. So far hasn't really been punished for it. Uses Sonic Boom to escape, especially with Solar Troll rotating on the right-hand side. Wowie's here, going to stop him from backing. Doesn't have the mounted archery to chase him down, though. Just the EI Jutsu. Heavenly Banner hits. The Eagle Eye almost is enough. Pain de Beyond can't continue to chase. And Adjust, again, just barely survives.
Wonder if Adjust started shopping there, and wonder if Wowie could have stepped up and gotten one free auto before using the Eagle Eye. Of course, Wowie hits everything after that, and you can never blame him for not getting that kill. Just watching it back, you wonder if Adjust really wasn't ready to get spotted out there. A little bit of a lazy back nearly cost him.
Yeah, he kind of takes the panic dash, doesn't he? Like right into the wall. So even that wasn't necessarily min-max. Maybe he really wasn't 100% expecting to be caught out there in that jungle, but a good rotation from Wowie. But that's why it's so important they force out the mounted archery earlier. If he has that, then I think almost certainly Adjust dies there as Ratcheteer in some trouble.
And again, Sprint gets him away for free. Two ultimates used there, one on each side. Solar Troll gets crushed on the right. Adjust did use his purification beads, but another kill in Dante's lane gets him further and further ahead, and Adjust stays further and further ahead of the Nemesis. And remember as well, Mercury is slow immune whenever he uses that too, so he's not worried about the Nem.
Moswell has the beats force, so nothing gonna get him away from the no escape. Pulled in, and a Just has the auto attack necessary. Another kill. A Just now 4-0-1. Team Cryptic holding their own against Very Nice to Me just kind of raises questions about that game one, you know?
Yes.
Clearly they're capable of standing on somewhat even ground with Very Nice to Me despite how strong they are, so I mean, why not put yourselves in the best possible spot?
That's exactly why I was frustrated with game one, Finch. That's what I said at the very end of the game.
You're right.
It's this team is good, and so why, hamstring yourself by going for something weird? Pick stuff like Mercury and just win the game because you're 4-0-1. You can do that.
Now this game's certainly not over yet at this point, but
No.
I think Team Cryptic are showing very much that they're capable of doing well. We'll see if they'll be able to keep that one going, as Dante LaFargo already has the Lotus Crown going to provide some extra protections, along with the cooldown he's already got from the boots. He's ready to rock. Level 14 on this Chang'e ahead of Solar Troll. Going to continue to spell problems for this Very Nice to Me team.
Dante is getting to near critical mass now on the Chang'e, where it's going to be really, really hard to shut her down. No anti-healing yet from anyone on Very Nice to Me, just relying on that Cerberus passive to do the anti-heal for them. And I think that Dante is far enough away in the solo lane that Moswell can afford to go for Spear of the Magus early on, can afford not to go for Brawler's Beatstick for Sam for Soccer, but we're going to start needing him soon, because if Cryptic recognizes that the next few items aren't going to be anti-heal, then they can just call Dante over and have him join up these team fights, and that'll be nearly impossible to stop.
Well, Team Cryptic are grouping around the Gold Fear, and I like this call. Soul Reaver, Rage, a lot of big power spike items finished for this Cryptic roster as they're baiting it. Not even hitting the Gold Fear yet. No escape. Is going to pull Pain Devion in, force out the Earth and Fury. Tycho drums are committed. The support does fall. Clow is the one that gets the kill credit. Wowie wants to step in and try and punish Ratcheteer, but Cryptic, I think they got exactly what they wanted.
Just easy kill on the Pain Devion, and Pain probably wondering if he should have just gone Purification Beads there. Dante gonna find two, but doesn't get stunned because of that nice little waltz there. Waxy Moon only hits Sam. Solar or Troll in some serious trouble here.
Able to catch Dante LaFargo, though, and bring him back underneath the tower, but he wants to go aggressive. Solar or Troll has to fall back. The rest of the Team Cryptic Death Ball is here now, grouped up along the middle lane. They can't track down Sam for Soccer. Instead, they're going to push the tier 1 in mid. Moswell's here to defend, and now they can head over back towards gold.
And this is what I'm talking about, where by the time you need anti-heal, it's likely too late, because you need anti-heal now, and it's too late because Dante has been healing up his whole team, and that's going to make this Gold Fury pull much easier.
Sam for Soccer comes in on the backside. Adjust is low. Has to use Aegis. Sam for Soccer can't find him. Data, remember, has to dash away with the Rising Jaguar. Gold Fury has been leashed, but Wowie falls to Ratcheteer and Cloud working in tandem. Dante LaFargo forces out Moswell to come back up in group on the top of the red buff, where Cloud Thunder crashing aggressively, and Ratcheteer finds a double.
Wow, Dante just doing so much work in these team fights, keeping his team up and alive and doing the damage simultaneously. Sam had a great team fight there. That blink engagement underneath the Gold Fury nearly killed both Adjust and Data Remember, but was just a little bit too short on the damage. And that's where that change in Nemesis comes back into play, right? That's a couple patches ago. Nem gets an easy double there, and Very Nice to Me could be getting this Gold Fury instead. It's the other way around.
Team Cryptic looking very comfortable here in Game 2. In particular, Dante LaFargo and Adjust have just looked great in this game so far. Dante, the very comfortable. Rod of Asleep is going to be his next item. Gold Fury has now been completed. No escape. Gonna pull in Pain yet again. Sonic Boom to keep the CC chain going. Clow, Thunder Crash finds the kill on the Pain Devion. Tycho drums to control Solar Troll. Double kill for the mid lane Mage. Data River has to use Aegis, but Wowie gonna be next on the chopping block. Mage a look, not enough, but Dante LaFargo certainly is. The last auto attack sets that kill up.
Sam, no more dashes available. He got interrupted there, but still has speed buff and is slippery enough to get away from Team Cryptic. But man, Cryptic get 3 for 1 on the backside of that Gold Fury secure as well. They look dominant.
They do.
Right now up against Very Nice to Me.
Again, it's hard to sing their praises 100% because you keep coming back to Game 1, but I love the adjustment. Playing this much better composition here in Game 2, playing to the composition very well, and kind of putting Very Nice to Me on the ropes. You know, making them look a little bit lost here in this game, forcing them into fights around their item power spikes, and able to win them quite competently.
And Clow has had a great game, 5-0-5 for him right now, near the top of the player damage charts. We've been praising Dante all game long. Ratcheteer has looked good on the Ares. His ult timings have been impeccable, and that's oftentimes just as important as your chains, is staggering your CC properly and making sure that you can find the right targets and communicate that to your team. On the other side, Payne has really struggled in this game. He's 0-4. The Terra, not one of his usual picks, and hasn't really looked very good for him quite yet. A lot of it is comp dependent, but also hasn't really made an impact. Neither is Wowie in this game, and Sam for Soccer has found good engagements, but hasn't been able to capitalize on many of them.
Yeah, Payne's been an easy target for Ratcheteer. No escape. He is going to be able to pull in no one. Sonic Boom does come through. Sam for Soccer barely surviving it, but Clow still ends up falling to Sam for Soccer anyway. Impressive to be able to find that return kill. Solar Troll not going to be able to get here in time to keep his jungler alive, and now has to jump away. But beads were forced out from Moswell early on.
Moswell and Adjust both lost their purification beads, but Moswell survives. Adjust couldn't quite find the distance on that Sonic Boom. So a 1-for-1 mid for jungle favors Very Nice to be a bit because Cloud was ahead, but they can't afford to be giving up objectives off the back of it.
Pyromancer is being looked at. Pain to Beyond trying to walk in, wall to zone everyone away. Pyromancer does go the way of Team Cryptic, and now the fight's on. Wowie finds Ratcheteer early on. Dante LaFargo is also very low, has the Earth and Fury, but it's not enough. Paralyzing Spit from Solar Troll takes him down. Another 2 kills, even though they lose the Pyromancer, go the way of Very Nice to Me, and he could probably grab this tier 1.
This is a huge boost now for Very Nice to Me because they needed a fight like that where they kill Dante, they kill Adjust, they kill Cloud. Someone needed to die, one of these priority targets, and they get that. But look at what Adjust and Day are doing in response. This is really, really smart. They'll get a tier 1 of their own, and I'm not positive that Sam can defend this very easily.
There's not much here by way of minions. Adjust is going to get forced back, doing a lot of work there with that Retribution shield as well. So the tier 2 in right falls, and Sam for Soccer defends the tier 2 in middle. Up until then, Team Cryptic had done a good job keeping that even, but a nice play from Sam does let them find a win, and he's not done yet. Data, remember, has to use Aegis. He does have Adjust here in support, drops the Darkest Knights. Sam for Soccer, though, with the shield, returns the kill, and might be able to do the same to Adjust.
Adjust is going to need a Sonic Boom away here unless he can really utilize that movement speed, but Sam's got a speed buff. Very patient from Adjust, and he might end up falling here. Yeah, you just got to take it where you when you have it. He really wanted to hold on to it, but just couldn't do so.
Pain to Beyond going to get caught by the no escape yet again. Dante LaFargo with an auto attack, it feels like, gets the kill. Now Solar Troll does grab 2, Ratcheteer's low, and Sam for Soccer happy to swing and set up for Solar Troll to grab that kill. Ends up being 1-for-1 if you just count these last 2 deaths.
You can almost feel the momentum slipping away from Team Cryptic, can't you? And it's just little decision making that really is coming back to bite them. It's that Pyromancer where they stay a bit too long. It's Adjust holding on to Sonic Boom in that spot. It's Ratcheteer going in to try and save Adjust in that spot, and Dante finding himself in a bad spot and chasing down a Pain to Beyond kill that isn't really that relevant. It opens up the tier 1 tower in mid and a kill onto Ratcheteer, which is much more relevant considering the level disparity between the two. Cryptic need to tighten up the ship on the decision making because their lead isn't lasting much longer at this rate.
And to make matters worse, on the other end, Very Nice to Me just kind of making the plays. On the other end, they grab that tier 2 on solo, and at the same time, Sam for Soccer in the 1v2 against 2 very potent auto attackers, Data, Remember, and Adjust on the Mercury and Xbalanque, keeps that tower standing so they don't give up any more gold in return. Very Nice to Me, even though they were on the back foot, found a way to strip some gain back, despite how well Cryptic had been playing. They're now ready to take a look at this Gold Fury. They've got Adjust, LaFargo, Ratcheteer. Everyone's here, but Moswell has the rain fire over the wall. Ratcheteer already very low.
Ratcheteer very low indeed, but so is Wowie. That Tycho drum not quite enough. Sam coming around the backside looking for Data. Remember, his Aegis is down. Sam going to keep that chase going, but back up, knowing that Dante was on the way back to heal him up.
Pain to Beyond taking a bunch of damage.
Nice
the chain
chains.
has landed. Adjust is what's going to be able to grab him. Now, Moswell hits the 2-man stun, but Ratcheteer and Dante LaFargo shrug it off. 5v4 in favor of Cryptic, and with that Chang'e sustain, they're ready to keep pulling this Gold Fury.
Where is the anti-heal from Very Nice to Me? I mean, Moswell's going for an Obsidian Shard now, but Divine Ruin is a necessity at this point of the game. No Brawler's Beatstick for Sam. No Pestilence even by Solar Troll or Pain, and it's really crazy that we don't see that against this Chang'e that is so far ahead. That Rod of Asclepius is getting so much value now for Dante LaFargo. and Clow, because Clow is healing off his own Bancroft's talent. That's another reason why that should be an easy Divine Ruin or Brawler's Beatstick or Pestilence pickup that we just haven't seen there from Very Nice to Me. And even though they started to claw back in the gold department, this is where that XP differential was really hurt Very Nice to Me, because Moswell got off great bombs in that fight, good stuns, but he just didn't do enough damage because of his level. He's only level 13 or 15 in comparison to Ratcheteer's 13, and that differential wasn't big enough to let him bring down Ares. If Ares falls right off the bat, because Ratcheteer was way out of position, way too far forward, and should have gotten punished for it, but you could make the argument that he knew he was fine just because he was in a level spot where Moswell wasn't going to be able to punish him effectively.
It really is a significant domino effect, because Pain de Beyond ends up falling as a direct result of Ratcheteer still being alive, finds an excellent chain to sort of keep him in range for the rest of Team Cryptic to come in and finish that kill off. I mean, if it's not quite a Chang'e heal, but if Pain de Beyond can reset and then get a little bit of their own Monolith healing off, have a few more stuns, that fight could certainly look very different. As now Solar Troll has to retreat. Waxing Moon over the wall. Does have the Stygian Torment, but he's walking right into more trouble. Day to Remember finds the kill.
That's just too far forward to be at this point in the game. You can't clear waves there effectively and safely when there's a level 20 Mercury on the other team, and Solar Troll gets punished very quickly for that.
Pyromancer now being looked at. A little bit beyond being looked at. It's been taken down. Fire Giant is now being considered by this Team Cryptic roster. They don't have Solar or Troll. They're big team fighting Cerberus. Instead, they got Sam, Soccer, Moswell, Pain, and Wowie. All four are here. Fire Giant down below half HP. And they release it on their own. Cryptic to look for the fight instead. Curious.
Sam around the back was really a worry for them. Ratcheteer going to blink forward and get a Beads and a Magi's Cloak, but that was Darkest of Nights and Taiko Drums.
A lot.
Not recognizing Relic Timers. Now Very Nice to Me has a much easier fight.
Sam for Soccer coming in on the backside. Adjust is who his target will be. He's trading out relatively well, but Day to Remember tipping the scales, and Adjust Major Look is able to find him on the back end. Ratcheteer's low, as is Dante LaFargo, but they're still chasing into Pain to Beyond. Waxing Moon hits everybody. That's going to set it up for Cryptid to continue chasing. Sonic Boom takes down Pain to Beyond. Day to Remember, and a Thunder Crash from Clow is going to be able to find Wowie.
Man, Adjust does so much work there. I mean, Dante's 3-man Waxing Moon is the dream, don't get me wrong. Solar Troll finds a couple with that Stygian Torment, and then he will be summarily punished forever. Looking at Team Cryptic with that sort of lead. 1v5, never gonna work in that spot. This Poison Star pickup makes all the difference for Adjust there. It gives him that extra bit of crit chance that he utilized to knock down Sam on the retreat.
Yes.
But more so, you don't often win 1v1s, even as Mercury, against a Nemesis whenever you get Nem ulted, especially with Hydra's Lament, which I think is a very smart pickup here for Sam for Soccer. But that Poison Star reduced the amount of damage that Sam was doing and allowed Adjust to win that 1v1 trade, kill Sam, and find the Sonic Boom after the fact. Adjust has been night and day, and it turns out that him playing Assassins is much better than him playing Zeus in the jungle. Who would have thunk it?
A lot of people. But as you said, it's working out better from here in this game, and that's with, remember how that engagement really started, right? They commit a lot of ultimates very early on. The No Escape, the Taiko Drums. I think they also committed the Darkest Nights from Day to Remember, basically just off Sam for Soccer, kind of creeping in on the backside, and they really don't get much. They do get the Magi's Cloak and Beads, which they correctly play around afterwards, but they committed a ton for just those two relics and still won the fight pretty handily.
That's about as bad of a beginning to a team fight as Cryptic could ever have at that point, without wasting their own relics or something like that. But it still managed to win the fight because Adjust does so much in that team fight, and Sam couldn't really get the help, and Moswell still continues to just not be able to bring the damage that he really needs, which is saying a lot because he's third overall in the game and has done quite a bit of player damage. But imagine how much you'd be doing if he were even with Cloud, who's been level 20 for a while now.
Or if all of that 17,000 wasn't getting, or most of it wasn't getting healed up. I mean, consider it almost mitigated in terms of what Dante LaFargo's been able to do, right? So I think the 17,000 is good considering his position, but you can't give him the full credit of it because almost 13,000 has been healed by Dante LaFargo, an absurd amount by this Chang'e, as now they group. They've got Fire Giant, Tier 2 in mid, and Solo are down. Cloud does take a good bit of damage, but Taiko Drums forces everybody back.
Look at that healing. Look at that healing. Cloud's totally fine. Ratcheteer's gonna pull in a couple. Wowie, Solo, or Troll just absolutely crushed. Imagine if Wowie did literally 0 player damage this game. Because that's what the Chang'e healing has done in this one. I just can't understand how they don't build anti-heal here.
They build none of it. 2 pin items for Oswald, the Spear Magus and Obsidian Shard without going into the Divine Ruin. Dante LaFargo does get stunned, but it feels like too little, too late at this point. I think Team Cryptic are ready to go in for the end of the game. Oswald is chained inside the fountain and falls. Sam for Soccer is still up, but what can he do? He's just one lone nemesis. Data River wants to try and get the DSI, but they're not going to find it. Team Cryptic are going to take us to a Game 3.
What a performance from Team Cryptic on the bounce back. I mean, they looked like they couldn't even hold a candle to Very Nice to Me in Game 1, and it really was team comp dependent. Game 2 just looks phenomenal on the Mercury. Dante gets off to a great lead and looks great on the Chang'e. Cloud looks great. Everyone looks good.
And I want to make sure it's clear, we're not surprised that Team Cryptic are looking good against Very Nice to Me.
No.
We expect this to be a very good set. We're a little bit surprised by Game 1, in all honesty, that it went that far
well,
in the
not
other
after
direction.
picks and bans. I was not surprised after picks and bans. I was surprised before that, yes.
But yeah, I mean, sometimes you go for a strat, it doesn't quite work. Cryptic, I think, showing clearly that they're capable of bouncing back, not just in having a strong performance, but I love Ratcheteer coming back on that Ares and playing it really well.
He looked really, really good, and that is something that Cryptic has really been looking towards, is Ratcheteer, you know, elevating his level of play. And for him to look that good against Very Nice to Me, the best team in North America minor league right now, it's impressive.
Well, we just saw the end of Game 2. We're going to be moving on to a Game 3 here, Ryan, but let's have the desk break down what happened in that series-tying game.
There was no Zeus jungle, that's the first thing on the cards, but great play. Honestly, great play from Cryptic there, totally. From the outset, they got off to a great start and kept handling.
Really good at capitalizing on the mistakes happening from Very Nice to Me. Dante LaFargo finding the first blood onto Solar Troll with a nice little gank from his jungler. Adjust on the Mercury, really performing well. Clow and the Raijin stepping it up a notch. Ratcheteer's Ares set up a great play, specifically at the 8-minute mark, where he pulled Sam for Soccer under the tier 2 tower. Surprised he didn't use beads, actually. Thought, I guess, that they would kill the Ares before the pull actually happened. It cost him his life. It gave Clow a free double kill. It gave a lot of momentum to them on the order side.
And they capitalized on it too. It almost was a reversal of fortune from Game 1. When you saw how Game 1 won, it was all Very Nice to Me. Well, this one was all Cryptic. This little play from Clow in the mid lane, though, did help them out. Mainly, it was down to the Ares that supported, though.
Oh, absolutely. He was baiting himself out very long enough to the point that the pull actually happened. Cloud was under his own tier 2 tower. The conjunction of these two ultimates really working out well for them. And then surprisingly, the double dash through during Darkest of Nights was mistimed, ill-advised. You don't want to put yourself under tier 2 tower during the ultimate of Xbalanque, where you're going to have to stutter step.
So a big change for Cryptic in terms of their picks and bans, and it made them fortuitous in this. I will say I'm still not a fan of that Nemesis pick. That Nemesis pick just didn't sit well with me in terms of the position they picked it, their opposition they were against when they picked it. And I would have liked to have seen Sam for Soccer back to something else.
The timing of it was a little awkward. He could have picked the Mercury if he really wanted to try to get some global pressure under himself. The Ratatasker was available. I'm looking at picks and bans now, and that's something that Sam for Soccer really thoroughly enjoys.
Thor as well.
Surprised that he doesn't go for that global presence.
Well, it's 1-1 then between these two, and we've got Game 3 about to be underway. We'll head into picks and bans now and see who comes out on top here. Will Very Nice to Me suffer their first defeat?
They very well could be if Cryptic continue to play like this and get the picks that they really want. At least the Chang'e picks for solo lane. Maybe not necessarily the Zeus for the jungle.
Nice to Me will be first pick first ban, and that's the one difference I would say between the first two games is Cryptic were first pick both times. So it's going to mix things up a little bit more so. Cryptic will be forced to ban away the Chernobog. It's starting to get to that point where Chernobog is going to be forced to ban by the second pick every game.
It could be the case. Rival versus Energy didn't ban it in one of the games or picked, so that's an interesting look to identify between North America and Europe, where these teams prioritize the God of Darkness. As Thoth is going to be the secondary ban, respecting the potential for Mossman.
Athena instantly locked in, given over to Pain de Vion. That was one thing that Cryptic adjusted in Game 2, was banning away that Athena from Pain de Vion, but now he's going to get back to it. I don't think he had the best performance on Terra. He got caught a couple of times there to Pain, and they kind of abused him, did Cryptic, so I like to see that he's managed to get his Athena again.
He's not afraid to make the plays and set up his teammates, so I don't necessarily fault him for being aggressive on the Terra. It's more about his teammates trying to follow up. I don't think Sam for Soccer got off to a good enough start in game number 2 to be able to assist Pain de Vion in those aggressive plays.
Well, Guan Yu will be locked in here, and Hell in response, so healer for healer. Odin on the table right now, and both these comps susceptible to the Odin. Nice to Me with one more pick. Do they take it for themselves? No, they'll go for the Circuit just in case.
here.
A different style, still has the anti-healing compared to the Odin Cage, but doesn't have the path blocker to be able to lock in multiple members. So Guan Yu is still going to be able to run around on the horse, as will Hachiman. Susanoo locked in for a just. I like this idea of being able to be aggressive and has a lot of burst damage to Stormkata Typhoon combo.
Yeah, both these assassins very, very good at doing their main job of shutting down opposition and being highly mobile. CRYPTIK will take away Cerberus, someone that's pretty good against healers overall, and not a bad matchup, I guess, as well against the Guan Yu. Raijin taken out by very nice Timmy, making sure Cloud doesn't get his hands on that once more.
Had a wonderful performance in game 2. Don't want to see it again in game number 3, considering CRYPTIK have the next pick. And knowing how Moswell wants to play the Hell, he's going to play hyper-aggressive, try to be the lane bully and establish dominance. Raijin has early, clear potential that you don't want to deal with.
I do like that Odin ban from Nice to Me there. It was back to CRYPTIK. They could have run the Odin and support if they so chose here, just to make sure that Ring causes them to have to go into the Phantom more than anything else. But CRYPTIK will go with the Terror now. So the main deal with this game is basically who can shut down the healers more often. Hell, definitely more dominant, more potent in terms of those heals.
I agree with you, and it's I think it'll be easier for Nice to Me with the Circuit Last Breath Poison, mitigating a lot of that healing. Speaking of mitigation, Hercules locked in.
Yeah.
A lot of good front line between the Hercules Athena to set up plays for the rest of them.
I really like very nice to me's composition here, totally. They've got a very good front line, a good in and out in Circuit, and then you've got Hell at the back just spamming those heals away to support the team. Agni will be the last pick for the mid lane for CRYPTIK. They needed one, and Cloud will be going to the Agni this game. Going to be a rough one, I think, for CRYPTIK. They've got to shut down this Hell early.
They definitely need to show up early because of the way Nice to Me's been set up. If they have, Very Nice to Me have any sort of mid-game control, that Hell is going to take off. I'm expecting the Athena to make some early game rotations. The Defender of Olympus coupled with Circuit's aggression could be leaning towards ganking the solo lane Guan Yu.
Picks and bans only, totally not including the players in this game. Who would you have your money on if you just saw those picks and bans?
Nice to Me. I like the Circuit Athena combo shutting down Guan Yu.
All right, then. Well, then we've got the message here. Let's get it over to the casters for Game 3. Will Very Nice to Me close it out and keep their undefeated record?
Thank you, Hindu. Thank you, Toli. And there is kind of a lot on the line here for Very Nice to Me. They want to be able to stay undefeated and very much near at the top of North America, but also a lot of pressure on this Hell. There's some readable CC. If those cleanses are on point for Moswell, I mean, this could really be a tough game for CRYPTIK if the Hell's playing to the fullest.
Absolutely will be a tough game for them if that happens, but that's why I like the way that they structure their picks and bans. It might be a little bit weird to see a Just play that well on Mercury and then he doesn't go back to it in this game, but Susanoo can apply anti-heal much, much easier than Mercury can. Agni can apply anti-heal very, very easily. I just hope someone freaking buys the anti-heal for once, Finch.
There's almost no way you can't. Not with a Hercules, not with a Hell, not with a Guan Yu, not with a Terra, right? At this point, you have to, right? Like, you can't not.
I don't know. I would have said there's no way that with the way that last game was going, you don't buy anti-heal, but
that's fair.
I've been proven wrong before. I don't know.
Well, it is going to be exactly as we expected. Moswell taking that Hell into the middle lane. Now, one thing you heard them talking about was that they liked this Athena-Circuit combination, but one thing they don't have is, as strong as Hell is, she's not your typical big follow-up to the Athena taunt. Do they still have enough to kind of blow up off the back of Pain Deviant's initiation?
They don't have it from a range, and that is a little bit concerning, but in that repulse damage, the Dark Stance 3 from Hell, hits harder than almost any other mage ability as is. So you definitely have really good follow-up, but it's got to be close range, and that is a little bit concerning. The better follow-up isn't coming from the mid lane, but it's coming from Wowie in this ADC role. Persistent Gust is some of the best follow-up to taunt in the game. If you time it correctly, you can keep someone CC'd for nearly 3 seconds, basically. So that's something to watch out for Team CRYPTIK once these roofings happen.
How well they're going to be able to stack that control and that damage, and whether or not Moswell ends up getting punished. So as much as there's pressure on Very Nice Team to make sure they're executing at 100%, so is there on Team CRYPTIK. A Just going to have to basically sit on top of Moswell in this mid lane and make sure he can't get comfortable, as Data, remember, has to use beads very early on.
Wow, he still gets very poked out, and Ratcheer doesn't have the monolith heal for him quite yet, and immediately Dave's like, nah, I'm good, dude. Let's just go to our purple buff because I don't want any more of that in lane. Jingwei has that capability sometimes of it. If you're accurate with your consistent gusts, it is tough to stop. It is tough to box out because of how much extra damage she gets on you.
Yeah, sometimes you walk into a duo lane and that first wave goes the way that wave went, and you go, I see. Oh, and that's just how the lane's gonna go. And then you maybe you are gonna make that audible call and just go to purple instead, because you're in for a Jingwei Athena type of day, and it's not getting easier for Data Remember or Ratcheteer.
It certainly will not. So just back it up a little bit, kind of rely on your team fighting prowess that both these gods bring. And look, it's not to say this lane is over by any stretch,
No.
but you have to play a little bit more passively in the early game now if you're Data Remember and Ratcheteer.
Now again, we're seeing both these mid mages start off without the mage blessing, but hold that thought. Adjust is aggressive in the jungle by those back XP camps, but as soon as Sanford Soccer shows his face, he gets on out of there. But going with the Band Cross Rush, this time on the Agni, and then again, Moswal is going to be starting with that Tier 2 Soul Reaver or Book of Thought.
I think it might be Book of Thought this time for Moswal, because he just needs mana as hell. Hell is very, very mana hungry. All stance switchers really are a lot of the time. As Sam going to blink forward, finds one, but Moswal was waiting on the skills. It just goes forward, and he gets punished for that immediately. It's one of those moments where I think he was trying to not go forward there, maybe turn around or maybe auto-cancel, but didn't click away from the Stormkata fast enough, and that's an unfortunate beginning, because that's right as speed buff spawns as well. That is just a nightmare scenario for Adjust.
That's a great initiation, though, from Sanford Soccer. I believe the Cobra's Kiss hit on both of them, and Beads had to come from Adjust, and that kind of pulls him back in and gives room for Moswal to come in and find the damage follow-up. Just a great job using stance switching correctly from Moswal as well, but Sanford Soccer, when you see Cobra's Kiss on two different targets, that's always just beautiful to watch.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite things to watch competitive players do, for sure. Just coming over to the solo side now, but blue buff already on the ground. Sam has used the Deathbane, but Dante's weak enough that it's still not enough to go aggressive.
Whew. Sanford Soccer jumped in, but not able to grab it. Both these mid lane mages, though, have finished off that first item. It was the Book of Thought that Moswal's already grabbed for himself, so we'll be able to get those stacks going. Tons of mana and power he's going to have at his disposal once they start regrouping here in the mid lane. A rotation coming from Pain and Wowie. They want to look at this red buff. Ratcheteer's here, Klaus here, but they're going to fall back. Can't go for the invade with that many members of Cryptic defending.
It's just that Sam isn't on this left-hand side. If Sam were there, being level 5 in comparison to Adjust level 3, that is the easiest invade that Very Nice to Me could ever have. But Sam's buffs were up on the right-hand side, and that's just more guaranteed farm. We talk about it a lot with invades are so useful because they give you farm and strip away, so it's basically like getting 2 camps over your opposition. But when you can get 3 camps over your opposition guaranteed by hitting blue XP speed, it just makes a little bit more sense. Plus, it really helps Sam's back timing now, because he gets his speed buff last, which means he's going to have it for a long time, and it's going to last long enough that he can use it to invade Adjust speed buff if he gets there in time. Really, really smart.
Yeah, they are off on their timers as well. They're offset in a way where Sanford Soccer can go for that invade if he wants to, but it looks like he's just not going to make it in time. Adjust has kind of sat around and just waited on it for a little while now just to make sure nothing goes wrong. He's backing, though. Maybe he is indeed going to go for it. Okay.
No, so yeah, Sam's here and has Blink available, but Moswal's job is to clear the wave and then come and assist, but Adjust should be able to secure this before Sam can get in there, and Clow with a good zone and good damage on Sam will guarantee that, so well done by Clow.
Yeah, I know. That might have started off his zone, and then he was like, oh, wait, I'm chunking this guy. So, yeah, definitely good play there from Cloud to make sure that Sanford Soccer was in combat as well. Sanford Soccer, though, is going to come right back to Moswal, and it's like it never happened with that hell healing. Now Dante LaFargo in some trouble, riding the horse. It's Sanford Soccer. Boulder goes wide right as Dante jukes it. Still has the dash available, so he is going to make it out of there.
Sam could go forward with the blink and try and just get an auto attack in, because those poisons last for a while from Cirquette passive, but decides against it. Just take the guaranteed buff.
Instead, going to meet up with Adjust in the jungle, who's going to chase him and get good poke on him. But again, we've already pointed this out. Sanford Soccer, which junglers don't often have, can kind of just come back to the health bank that is Moswal and stick around the jungle a little bit longer than normal.
If he needs to, but this is probably a good opportunity for him to back. He's low on mana as well and can clear out XP, blue, speed again, and then be there again for if that speed buff invade presents itself. The way these buff timers have fallen is really benefiting Sam, but instead he's actually heading for a potential gank. He's low, but Dante is lower, and one blink Cobra's Kiss will certainly spell a kill.
It does appear as if Dante LaFargo is recognizing this at this point, though. He's very far back in his own Tier 1 tower. He's just going to hang back, so not really much opportunity unless they want to go for the full-on dive here for Sanford Soccer. Solo Patrol not even looking for the pull, and they're going to give up on it.
I think this is the right call. Actually, quite a bit of time spent there by Sam to not get that gank, but you guys absorb the wave anyways, so not entirely lost in the farming department. It's just one of those moments where you can use those leads to take risks like that, stand around, not get any XP. It just can't have that luxury at this point because he's so far behind in gold and XP that you don't want to use those sorts of moments, and you have to spend every waking moment farming the map as much as possible. Sam can take those luxuries knowing that he has the lead.
He's got to make sure he's particularly careful, though. He's gone with that blink. We've already seen it set up first blood going the way of Moswall, but up against Cloud with those Agni Bombs, Just has a ton of control, too. He's got to make sure that he's being very careful. He could very easily get punished without that extra help from the Purification Beast.
Solar Troll has to be a little bit careful because it just is on this side of the map, knowing the blue buff is about to spawn. But here comes Sam once more. Can't find the Cobra's Kiss, and he should lose this poke trade now.
Dante LaFargo comes in on the horse very early on. Defender of Olympus means it's never really a 2v2, 3v2 now in favor of Very Nice to Me. And instead of looking for the fight, they're just going to grab this blue buff invade. If they could have found a kill, fine, but they really want to try and strip this farm from Dante LaFargo as often as they can.
This is going according to plan so far for Very Nice to Me. They'd probably like a couple more kills than just one at this point, but you have an opportunity to still make a lot of plays on that solo side. And instead of Dante getting way ahead on a healer like he did last game, now he's sitting at not a substantial, but certainly a noticeable deficit so far.
And don't forget that it's Very Nice to Me who have the hell. So they're ahead right now, and there hasn't been much pressure now. Just might be waiting a little while. Not going to be quite as potent early on as the Serket before he can really try and punish Moswall. But Moswall level 9. Book of Thoth has quite a few stacks. Now has Pen Boots to follow up. That's a ton of power coming from this hell, not just the survivability. Not going to be very easy to take her down now. Level 10, actually.
I mean, his net worth, he's got a 900 gold right now over Clow. A lot of that coming from the first blood, of course, but Moswall's been able to solo a lot of waves, whereas Ratcheteer's been in mid a little bit to help out Clow. Moswall soloing red buffs, soloing mid harpies. That's an easy way to get a lead for yourself as a mid laner.
Moswall, look for these left harpies. Justice here, though, so not going to let Moswall grab them for free. Moswall has a chance to steal them away, but boy, doesn't it feel like Moswall's like at an amusement park and he bought one of those express passes or something? My man's just kind of coasting here early on.
An easy pass.
Is that what they are?
Yeah, I think that's what they're called.
I don't go to a lot of those, I'll be honest.
I'm not a big amusement park fan either.
Yeah, I'm afraid of roller coasters, chat. That's a true thing. Wow. Just in some trouble, though. Afraid of this boulder coming out. The bounce back comes through, and Moswall finds the kill. Just gonna have to take a seat. 0-2 for the jungler, and now the speed buff invade is on. Dante LaFargo cannot help Clow. He is looking for some damage over the wall, but he has to retreat too.
Right, Sam looking for a little bit more potentially. Just got his ambush caught out. He's in trouble here, but Dante's not coming over. He's being handled by Solar Troll, so Sam is fine for the moment, but a really well-timed stun there by Ratcheteer nearly puts Sam in the grave, though he gets healed up by Moswall potentially and can just head right back towards farming and invading, as you were mentioning earlier.
Yeah, I'm sure Dante LaFargo would love to get this blue buff, but I just don't think it's happening anytime soon. Not with Sam for Soccer being 2 levels up on Just. Dante LaFargo might actually die here. 2-man stun's great, but there's nowhere for this guy to go. He does have the Tele Assault, almost manages to trade that out.
That was close. Dante taking a risk there. May have just been able to escape, but decided to try and turn it around and ends up falling because of it. I wonder if he would have lived in that spot if he plays defensively. I'm not positive, but I know he didn't survive the way he played it.
That's right. We have the luxury of seeing at least one of those possible timelines as red buff now being invaded. Data, remember, uses purification beads to try and move up and secure the red. Wowie can't fully punish. Cloud's here as well. Solar Troll finds a Just in the jungle. Oh, 3-0. This is rough.
He didn't even have ult. That was just using the base damage from the Hercules abilities to find that kill. 4-level lead will do wonders for you in situations like that. Solar Troll really putting the hurt onto Just. And is it any surprise that in Game 1, the worst draft of all time, and CRYPTIK gets stomped, but it's because Just falls behind and can't really do anything. Game 2, Just gets up to a great start, and CRYPTIK look like world beaters. And now in Game 3, he's getting smacked again, and CRYPTIK look like they can't even swim. Junglers doing well is important no matter the team, no matter the level of play. You could be in bronze games, and your jungler falling behind will hurt you. There's no doubt about that. But certain teams really, really rely on their jungler. It is their lifeblood, almost, it feels like. I think CRYPTIK fits that bill, and I think SK Gaming comes to mind with fails. These teams that if their junglers don't get off to really, really good starts, then they just have very little chance of success.
And very nice to be drafted around that very well. This is a competition that could certainly have been punished by a Susano, but with this early lead, they're kind of feeling really good. Now, Sanford Soccer has to jump away, had that ambush available. Dante LaFargo is going to stun underneath the tier 2 tower, has a Talu Assault. Ratcheteer isn't even needed. Dante LaFargo hunts down Sanford Soccer, finds a much-needed kill.
Solo Troll and Moswall, though, there's a 2v3 that I think Very Nice to Me is happy to take at this point. Solo is huge right now at level 12. Moswall's also level 12 and just massive, so no real fear and no anti-heal yet to shut down the healing from either of these two characters.
And I don't know how you're going to punish this hell at this point. Looks like Moswall's gone into the Mad Guy's Cloak, so add on to the Cleanse, the Beads, the Aegis, and the Mad Guy's Cloak, and just feels untouchable at this point, even without any extra health or any other survivability yet. I just don't know how they punish her.
Yeah, that's a good point. And just, I'm surprised by the Jotun's Wrath for a Just. Where's the Brawler's Beatstick? Okay, so the theory is, I can hear F-Dot telling me right now, when you're behind, you feel like you need to be able to impact, you need every bit of damage you can get from behind. And if that's your mindset, sure, you're right. You do need every bit of damage that you can get. As Dante putting some good damage on a Solar Troll,
and the
body block, but mitigate wounds comes up in time. Solar Troll actually now in control. Good conviction heal from Dante. Earthbreaker off the mark, so both survive. Yeah, you do need every bit of damage, and I get that. But you also are so far behind that the bit of damage that you're doing is likely not that relevant, and so why not just be utility and bring the anti-heal? I'm of the complete opposite mindset in that regard. Just's damage is now irrelevant until he gets 4 items anyways, so get to the point where you can at least help out your team with anti-heal, because you're just going to have that happen to you anyways.
Yeah, whatever item I just had wouldn't have mattered there at the very least. My man never got to do anything as Solar Troll finds the solo kill on the Dante LaFargo. Data Remembrance falling on the left-hand side as well. Sanford Soccer having a tremendous impact early, and the kill in the jungle just now onto a Just, really freeing up the map. Sanford Soccer ambitiously looking towards the Pyromancer, but he's alone. Now the rest of the squad going to come in. Moswall happy to heal him up if he wants to come join. And Very Nice to Me feeling firmly in control with a 5,000 gold lead, leading 7-1 in the kills. Experience even worse at 7,500. Team Cryptic definitely looking up at Very Nice to Me right now.
And it looks like Cryptic is working towards the anti-heal. I anticipate that spear, Enchanted Spear, will turn into a Divine Ruin Plow, or else I'm just going to go absolutely bananas. It has to be at this point, because right now you will just never kill Solo or Moswall.
Looks like they do have the Cursed Ankh, though. That's going to be rather potent for them, at least to slow down what Solar Troll's doing. Pain to Beyond with the Defender of Olympus. Keeps Solar Troll alive and dashes out from the stun from Ratcheteer. Even the supports have a substantial level difference as this game starts to get a little bit further and further away from Cryptic. But the Cursed Ankh, if they can get some anti-heal online, Cryptic are now starting to itemize towards some ways to slow down this Very Nice to Me squad.
There is some anti-heal this time from Sanford Soccer. Going to use that Brawler's Beatstick against Dante, and Terra healing from Ratcheteer, but also has that 100% anti-healing coming from Last Breath. Not something that you can really forget about at this point. Dante will certainly keep that in mind as a Mystical Mail finished off for Solar Troll, and he's got that luxury of being so far ahead that slowing down his power curve doesn't really affect him at all, because his power curve being slow is still ahead of his opposition.
Sanford Soccer drops Last Breath on the Data Remember. Good trade out from a Just. Sanford Soccer's low-mounted archery goes into the wall. Now WoW able to punish with the airstrike and look for the chase down onto a Just, who has to fall back. Another win for Very Nice to Me.
Sam going to blink forward, finds the beads out of a Just, but the auto attack is still good enough. Ratcheteer comes over and immediately exits. In fact, did he just use his ult in that spot? I don't know if he did. I thought I saw some sort of effect go off. No, it doesn't look like it, so that's good. I thought he wasted it. Oh, no, he did. He totally wasted that. Okay, cool. Nice.
Yeah, Earth and Fury not going to be available either, as he felt under a lot of pressure, but Very Nice to Me, very much flexing into the lead they've been able to establish. Great play from Sanford Soccer.
Hello.
Blink Clow is going to experience some of that here in the mid lane. Good stun. Rain Fire almost trades it back out. He does. Clow makes a great play to at least get Sanford Soccer, and standing tall up against Moswall. Solar Troll comes in with the boulder, though, and takes him down.
That was a really nice play by Clow. I love the patience to wait and see where Sam lands with that ambush, and then just dump the kit, man. You know you're dead to rights. Just get out all the damage that you can and try and make a play happen. Good play there by Clow.
Gold Fury now being looked at by Very Nice to Me, so not having Sanford Soccer hasn't really deterred them, not with the Agni off the map. That's going to add to the gold lead, push them up even further, about 7,000 now in the lead, 8,400 experience. Beads comes out already in the air from Data. Remember, at least he wouldn't get pushed. Taunt from Pain to Beyond. No beads to save you now. Aegis does let him live for a moment. Solar Troll, though, level 16, can chase this all day long. Driving Strike is all it takes.
And this is what you need when you have a Hell, a god that really needs protected in the early game. The best defense for a character like that is a good offense elsewhere on the map, where Solar Troll gets so far ahead basically by himself, with some help from Sam for Soccer to be sure, but Solar Troll makes a lot of plays. And now you have to, best case scenario is that you kill the Hell, but never get a chance to touch the Hercules. Or you can really do neither, and that is even harder to stop. And that's where we are at this point for Team Cryptic, where they just don't have an answer to either the Hell or the Hercules. And so Solar Troll takes a lot of pressure off of Moswell just by being so far ahead by himself.
Yeah, it's very interesting. You can be a bodyguard right at the front door, or you can go meet them at their house and don't even let them leave. And that's kind of what Solar Troll has done. Instead of being there for Moswell and like body blocking and keeping him alive, they haven't even let that become an issue yet. Tier 1 tower falls in mid. Tier 1 in duo has been taken as well. Very nice. We haven't even really grouped up and done any big pushes. They're just having advantage in every lane. Data, remember, almost gets solo underneath his tier 2. Does have the mountain archery. Forces out Wowie's Aegis. Eagle Eye almost trades that one back out. But the rest of Very Nice to Me free to move into the jungle.
Solar Troll between tier 2 and Phoenix, and really in no danger doing so. Adjust, blinks forward, looking to chase out Wowie. Actually still holds on to that blink. Solar Troll finds Cloud, by the way, because of course he does, with help from Sam for Soccer.
Up onto the cavalry charge is going to be Dante LaFargo. Sam for Soccer has beads now, so is able to get away from that stun. Now it's Dante LaFargo's in trouble. He's been knocked up. The damage is coming out from Wowie, who dashes in aggressively and gets pulled back in. Solar Troll landing everything. Moswell gets the last hit on the back end. Can't find Sam for Soccer either. 3 members down for Cryptic. Everyone's still standing for Very Nice to Me.
That's just kind of the way this game has gone for Team Cryptic, hasn't it? I mean, decent plays here and there, but just not ultimately enough to end up clawing them back into this game. Do have to give credit, though, with the struggles that Cryptic has had, and even with how far behind he is in farm, Cloud's damage is really, really high right now. 2nd overall in the game. 10,000 is nothing to shake a stick at at 18 minutes, and he's been putting himself in pretty decent spots. His last 2 deaths have been back-to-back, and that's why this XP lead has grown very quickly for Moswell, but I think Cloud, despite the way that the overall game is going, could probably look back at this game and say that he did a pretty good job.
This Fire Giant should be relatively free for Very Nice to Me. Adjust is in the jungle, but no way he's going to be able to come in and try and stop this. So Very Nice to Me with their 10,000 gold lead can go start grabbing these tier 2 towers, the last tier 1 in solo lane. In fact, Adjust is dead to Sam for Soccer, who just kind of chased him down in the jungle by himself. Adjust having a rough game here.
When you have a best of 3 set, and in 2 of those games, your jungler is down 5 levels at one point, you are likely not winning that set.
Yeah, and sometimes when you're watching back this set, you're like, man, it's tough to know what we could have done differently, but that does kind of highlight where some of the problems have been. When Very Nice to Me have been able to pressure out Adjust early on and never even let him get started in the game, then it's been relatively easy for them. So that's something that Cryptic can definitely look back to and point to.
Solar Troll not here on this right-hand siege. Data Remember gets taunted in, and his beads are forced, but not before he loses half his HP. Bit of a commit onto Pain, and Terra's Blessing used as a heal over time effect now. Moswell has one of those. It's just not on an ultimate.
No. He's able to do it all the time, especially now that he has that Chronos pendant finish. It's up very often. In fact, to the tune of 11,000 healing. Pretty absurd.
Insane.
We're only 20 minutes into the game.
He doesn't have Asclepius yet either.
No. He only really just got Chronos Pendant, to be honest. He's been doing it with Bookatoth, Boots, and Mageyes for a minute now, and that's not even to count how much healing Solar Troll had been able to do just for himself to sustain through that mitigate wounds. And to be fair, Cryptic have the Divine Ruin, the Brawlers, the Pestilence, the Cursed Ankh. They got a ton of answers to it, but Moswell at this point, a lot of the damage has just been done.
Like I always say, once you need the anti-heal, it's likely too late, and it became too late very quickly in this game. And honestly, that really wasn't a problem for Team Cryptic here, as taunt onto Dante LaFargo. He's going to get knocked up. Moswell takes a good amount of damage, as does Wowie, but here comes the sustain.
Dante LaFargo gets the stun onto Pain Devion. Solar Troll still very far forward, and Cursed Donk is there to isolate him. Data, remember, finally shuts him down. But the big boy crits now coming out from Wowie. Also going aggressive is Sam for Soccer. He controls too, but Dante LaFargo undeterred goes in, gets taunted, still standing for now, but Airstrike gonna put an end to that.
And Moswell is here to heal everyone up. Pain actually strips away that heal from Sam, who likely needed a little bit more, but the siege continues in this spot. That's the hell.
Well, they're actually going to come back and grab these tier 2s. So Team Cryptic, at the very least, tell very nice to me. There is one thing they can't just take right now, and it's that right side Phoenix. They're going to come back and grab the tier 2. Or not move over for the tier 2 and left. They're going to come grab the Phoenix in mid, or at least attempt to. Almost 4K healing in that last fight from Oswald, by the way, as the 2-man stun going to land from Ratcheteer.
Solar Troll respawns in 13 and just dashes in. I don't know if that was the play there, my friend. Sam for Soccer going to try and punish him for it, but Sam is the one who ends up falling. Just couldn't sneak in the auto attack that was necessary, and so Cryptic hold on to their Phoenix yet again.
All right, Team Cryptic, okay. These Phoenix defenses are certainly here from them. Now, to be fair, a lot of this gold lead that very nice to me have just now accrued has not been spent just yet. You know, they've grabbed some tier 2 towers off the map, and they haven't had a chance to spend that. They're going to get this gold through as well. But Cryptic certainly showing up. Dante LaFargo putting in a ton of work. Terra and the Earth and Fury cannot be overstated. And Clow, I mean, this Agni is clearly a problem.
Really is, man. That player damage that he put out in that last team fight was very, very impressive and continues to look pretty good. Ratcheteer got a great stun underneath that tier 2, or that Phoenix in middle as well. Give credit to him with a pretty decent fight, despite not having Earth and Fury make an impact whatsoever. Cryptic starting to claw back. I mean, look, they're still down over 10K. They still have their backs against the wall in every sense of the word, but it's not over yet. And that is, it should be some sort of solace for Cryptic.
No, I think they can definitely go back and try and build on these Phoenix defenses. The siege from Very Nice to Me wasn't quite as strong, perhaps, I think that they would have liked. I think that might be where we're seeing the difference in this ranged magical damage, where Moswell certainly is doing plenty of it, but he has to be very close to affect everyone.
And Moswell feeling like he needed some more penetration instead of the Asclepius, and both will help him out immensely. It's just a matter of play style. Do we feel like we need more damage? Do we need to kill Dante a little bit earlier, because he was a problem in that last team fight? Or can we just continue to bait out these slower engagements and use the healing a little bit better? I agree with Moswell's assessment that getting the damage onto Dante, killing him earlier on, will then lead itself to better healing opportunities anyways. Plus, you get the Rod of Healing, the Tier 2 of Rod of Asclepius, which will give you a bit of a passive effect as is. Both of those Tier 2 items have mini versions of their Tier 3 upgraded, but I'd rather have the fully stacked Obsidian Shard.
Cryptic have to be careful here. They're very far forward. In particular, Dante LaFargo forced to use the cavalry charge. I think Very Nice to Me don't really have a problem chasing down this Guan Yu. He does get pulled back in, and there's nowhere for him to go. I don't know about this.
Dante's dead.
No, I mean, I know he's dead. Yeah. I don't know why he was there.
I don't know why either, especially knowing Solar Troll. Like, Solar Troll is standing on a ward by the blue buff, and then you just keep pushing forward.
And that's another thing that, yes, it is this Fire Giant very easily going to be going into Very Nice to Me. But another thing that this healing comp has kind of opened up is for Wowie to very easily lean into the crit in this Jingwei build, right? Dante LaFargo has Midgardian Mail, but I mean, he can't build Thorns, can't build, you know, the High Demand Lion. So the door's been made a little bit easier even for Wowie to just go straight into Poison Star Deathbringer and feel really good about it. Likely going to do it anyway because he's the Jingwei, but can feel really good about doing it because of the way that Cryptic have to build.
Exactly, and now that he's got Deathbringer, this siege could be even easier. This Clow actually just going to lay down an anti-healing field is basically what that is, but Pain's not that worried about it.
Cloud getting some more good damage in. It's going to bring Pain down to about half HP. Wowie jumps away. Moswell unaffected. Still has the Magai's cloak ready to go, so he can't get pulled in. Can say the same for Sam for Soccer on the Circuit as he split pushes in mid. Solar Troll finds Ratcheteer, a very nice target to pull into the taunt. Earth and Fury does get off, but Wowie puts him down immediately afterwards. Dante LaFargo has now respawned and rejoined the fray, but Phoenix already been brought down to about half HP and no one defending mid except Adjust.
Sam could take the 2v1 very easily, and will do just that. See you later, Adjust. Whew. Sam gets his cake and eats it too. Mid Phoenix will fall shortly.
Right, Phoenix also under siege as Data, remember, trying to find a way to run away. Aegis does keep him alive for the moment, but Moswell not going to be slowed down. The boulder will come through and put an end to the Hunter for Team CRYPTIK. Clow doesn't even make it back into the fountain in time to heal. Solar Patrol fountain dives and is going to die for that, but only Dante LaFargo left with Wowie and Moswell, Sam for Soccer, Pain to Beyond all still here. Very nice to me. Appear to have taken this game and taken the set. Dante LaFargo falls as well, and it's very nice to me. Gonna be able to take it.
I mean, very nice to me gets to keep their perfect record, and they look pretty good in 2 of the games doing it, but they got blown out in game 2.
They did.
I wonder if CRYPTIK will wonder themselves. What if we didn't pick Zeus jungle game 1?
They'd given themselves 3 tries, right, instead
Yeah.
of 2. You know,
Yeah.
how could that potentially have gone?
That literally is what it was.
Right.
They just gifted game 1 away, basically, and end up losing 2-1.
And that's what ends up happening then. And that last game looked very clean for Very Nice to me as
Yes.
well. And I think a lot of it was that they caused so many problems for Adjust early on. I mean, it feels like he never really got to play.
And that's where Susano's greatest weakness is. I mean, his mid and late game is phenomenal. His team fight is really, really good for an assassin. He can 1v1 a lot of different characters. But that early game is a slow startup, and
Yes.
you can utilize characters like Serket, like Hercules, who have good early games to really punish Susano and never let him get to that later stage, and that's exactly what happened to Adjust.
Well, tell us a little bit more about what happened there in that game and the set overall. Desk, go ahead and break it down.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Casters. The main thing to really mention here, Tolly, is that the divide in the minor league at the top over in North America isn't that big. You can see CRYPTIK has the ability to take games off some of their opposition, but they've still got issues.
They definitely need to figure out when's the right proper time to pick certain things, because the Zeus jungle in game number 1 hurt them. The only good thing they did in picks and bans in game number 1 was banning Hell in phase number 2. This time around, adjusting to things a little bit, they picked it before the secondary phase, and Moswell just popped off. First blooding Adjust, shutting down the momentum of a jungler in Season 5 is the best way to win.
Yeah, and that Hell as well had a great performance. Clow had a good time with things in the mid lane there. Didn't die at all in that last little period of game. It was a good little performance out of the boys. What was it? Not Cloud, Moswell, I should say. Get myself wrong. Saying Cloud didn't die, that would have been a joke. But Moswell, yeah, the Hell really caused a lot of problems for them, and they didn't really have any answer to it.
There was just too much attention everywhere. So when you're trying to focus a Hell, you're trying to focus out a Hercules on the right side, you're going to be pulling and pushing a little bit too much. And then you always have to worry about the Athena global pressure. And that was coming crucial when there was a time when Solar Patrol was getting ganked, survives in a 1v2 because of that Defender of Olympus, and Moswell was having a field day with the Hell.
Yeah, let's have a little look at the standings and see how this one broke down today. Obviously, Very Nice to me. We're already at the top, and they go a little bit clearer again. 9-0 with only 1 game remaining. Armada, they've got a chance to catch up a little bit, but Very Nice to me, almost unstoppable here now, Tolly. It looks like they pretty much secured at this point.
It definitely could be the case, unless they lose the last one and then Armada just wins out the remainder of those games. Could be the case, so mathematically Armada are not out.
No, not just yet, but here's what the schedule looks like for the rest of the week. We've got Armada versus Sanguine on Friday in North America. Tomorrow's about Europe, and that's where we'll see the Pappies face off against Fear No Evil to see how things work out over there. 2 sides vying for contention in the minor league from Europe. But at the moment, in Europe, you know, top of the shop in Signum.
It's Signum, man. Anything can happen there because this minor leagues teams, they're trying to get to the SPL, and with the fall split right around the corner, it's important to get to that standings.
Yeah, and if a SMITE minor league team does do well during fall, they get a chance to come to the World Championships and try and compete to get a spot to come to DreamHack, where Hyra's Expo will be this year. November 16th to 18th. Make sure you go and get your tickets over there. They're on sale now. Sooner you get them, the safer it's going to be. I'll tell you that much. So get over there, harrisexpo.com to buy your tickets for Expo now. All the casters will be there. All the pro players will be there. Well, most of the pro players will be there. Depends how good they are.
That's true, and there's going to be some of those international teams as well. We saw the Global Series earlier today, just finished off with SML, and we got some more for them folks at home today.
However, that's not it for the broadcast today. We're going to take a quick hiatus, as the usual start time for the SPL is 3 o'clock local time, so about an hour from now. Tune back in and catch out what's going on in North American SPL. From over at the studio, we'll see you a little bit later on.